Stream is live. Mics are open.
Mouthwash in my mouth.
Oh, I didn't mouthwash.
Oh, no. Mine's not even here.
You know how big grapefruits are now?
Yeah, no.
This is the smaller of the 2 grapefruits I had. 10. Oh.
10 what?
What size is that grapefruit? Did you get Matt on?
Is Matt's mic working?
Okay. Has the show started? Are we on?
There it goes.
Okay.
Showtime. Turn the sound off. Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn Sunday School, starring Penn Gillette. My name is Michael Ladeau, and we are broadcasting from the Show Creator Studios in Las Vegas. Wow! Ira Glass asked Penn to tell the truth, and he did. Penn sees a juggler doing my goddamn Act of the Peacock. What the fuck is that about? Tonight we'll spend our time and yours completing an 8th grader's science project. Here he is preaching love, Mr. Penn Gillette.
Ow!
Wow!
Preaching love. Yeah, there's a lot. I got
A lot to cover.
Let's
Talk
start.
faster.
Too much. I'm overwhelmed.
You weren't even mentioned.
No. This is
With Matt Donnelly.
The whole point is to seamlessly get in the intro, so I'm just part of it. But calling attention to it every time, I feel a little embarrassed.
Embarrassed, but underlined.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've
it's more
never been
important.
highlighted, and like never before.
It's exactly like if you were in the Rockettes
Yeah.
and then you're a little out of step.
Right.
You get noticed.
Oh, totally.
And then you get fired.
That's what this feels like.
Notice to fired.
Eventually, it's going to be too burdensome to incorporate me.
Farewell, Matt Donnelly
Thank
Show.
you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Anything happened to you this week, Matt Donnelly?
I was cast in a music video by a listener of both of our podcasts.
In a very short skirt.
I wish. And instead, I was just in all black and a hood. It was very funny. The fella.
Were you playing death?
No, I was playing a Seeker of Truth.
What kind of video is this?
A pop, industrial pop song video.
There's industrial pop?
Yes.
There's such a thing?
Mm-hmm.
I knew there was industrial. There's a pop version of it?
I think so. At least that's what it sounded like that I was walking around to.
So like...
Were you at the music video? That was perfect.
Exactly. Thank you.
Wow.
But they decided to, and this is very funny, they decided
And
to...
this is a commercial success. Well, they're not a successful band, or they wouldn't have you.
Exactly, yeah. So they're up and coming. A lot of potential.
Or they thought they were up and coming, and then they hired Matt Donnelly.
I own a percentage of the net. No, so they decided there's this 100-year-old shack that stands out next to a museum in Beatty, Nevada.
What kind of museum?
It's what they call a museum. You might call like a park or a thing on the side of the road.
Okay.
They call a museum. And but 2 weeks ago we had a giant windstorm.
Mm-hmm.
So a shack that had stood for hundreds of years no longer stood. But the permits to shoot there
Apparently they were still standing.
still did. Yeah,
Still standing.
Still stood. So the video must go on, as George Washington said. So they reconstruct a shack-like structure inside a big barn, basically turning a barn into a studio. It's like a park center had a big barn to keep stuff in, and so they turned that barn into a studio, which means they didn't have to shoot in Beatty, Nevada. But we all found it funny that we still had to go there anyway.
Uh-huh.
I went out there and I followed my GPS directions to this spot. GPS is fascinating to me because it'll keep if you put it together, if you put your trip together, it stays accurate even in places where you don't have internet or phone service.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
How does it do that?
Exactly. Godot's saying, yeah, of course it does. And you and I are going, how the fuck does that happen?
Yeah, how does that happen, Godot?
It downloads the map for the area you're going in.
But he doesn't know you're still going.
The GPS is continuing to function. The GPS is separate from the Wi-Fi.
Oh, I knew that.
Okay.
I did know that.
So
Okay.
you've downloaded the map,
Yes.
and the GPS is telling you where you are on that
So even though I can't make a phone call or do anything like that,
yeah,
it still knows where I am
exactly where you
accurately.
are, yes.
Okay.
You just couldn't call
So
for
when
help.
you're kidnapped, you'll know where you are and can't call for help.
Right. So I drive up to this location,
Mhm.
and it is like a wooden sign that says museum with an arrow that points to like a dirt road.
Uh-huh.
And in there is basically like an old house that's shuttered, and then a bunch of religious ghost statues. Let me try to say it better than that. This is my
Angels.
first
Hard to say it worse.
what looked like to be like petrified or frozen sheets, as if you took the Last Supper and you put like a white sheet over the top of every
To
figure.
keep the dust off of the
yeah,
guys.
and then remove the figures. So like as if these white sheets were surrounding the Last Supper, they were now absent. Am I just?
But it was the Last Supper?
Yeah, it was like a Last Supper and like other religious scenes. It was very clearly like religious.
And you could tell that with just the shrouds?
Yes.
Shroud was the word you were looking for.
Shroud is the word I was looking for, and it also keeps it religious, which is I bet their intent.
Yeah.
So
is shroud. This
starch
sounds fabulous.
shrouds.
Yeah, it's neat.
It is fabulous, actually. I've seen this.
You have seen it.
I have seen this.
Yeah, well, that's
now
the
that
news-
you've gotten far
It's
enough into the description.
starched shrouds of religious sculpture
I think so.
without the religious sculpture.
Yes.
So it's essentially the salt shaker trick.
Yes, it is exactly the salt shaker trick.
To put this in terms magicians would understand.
Exactly, and then just also to keep giving away tricks on this show. Although if you don't know that one, okay. So turns out that's not where the video was taking place.
Well, that would be a great place for video.
I agree.
Especially Industrial Pop, which specializes in starched shrouds.
Yes, I mean if you cornered the starch shroud market in your industrial pop album, I mean success.
Oh, you got it.
Just it's a money printing machine.
Like Robert Palmer and Attractive Women in Black.
Yes. So I hang out at this museum.
Looking at the starched shrouds.
Look at the starch shrouds for like a half hour. No one's there.
There's another starched shroud.
Yeah.
Look at
Now
that.
my phone doesn't work.
Well, how many religious statues? How many religious statues can you recognize from shrouds? The Last Supper,
Yeah.
Pietà. What else is there?
I think like taking Jesus down from the cross was the other one I saw, like three figures.
Oh, so
kinda-
there's this,
yeah, it seemed to be two figures holding another figure.
but you could just see a cross.
No, there's no cross.
Well, then it's just, how do you know he's down from a cross?
It could just be it could just be
You don't
like,
get down from a cross. You get down from a duck.
it could just be
A duck.
I think. Excuse me. There's my cough button ready. Too late. Okay, so all right, so I think once I saw the Last Supper one, I just interpreted the others. I don't know if the others were as distinct, but that one certainly stood out. So I just thought the rest
But
were
name
religious.
one more.
Religious things.
Yeah.
Lazarus.
Lazarus raising from the dead?
Yeah.
Under a shroud? Isn't that just Lazarus dead?
Yeah.
You've seen this. Help
Yeah,
him.
I don't remember. I just remember. You got
Everyone
farther
was
than
last-
I did because it looked like a crowd of ghosts.
Okay.
It's a crowd of ghosts.
It might have just been a crowd of ghosts, and I'm
He's
butchering
the one
all this.
who's added
Yeah.
the-
It seemed religious to me, but that's. I mean, I saw it as a sign, and I became Christian again.
Oh, okay. Good deal.
Then we will stop questioning it.
Exactly, as you should.
Because we need to respect your religion.
Thank you.
The starched shroud of
It's
Donnelly.
shroud in the Church of Beatty. I'm in the wrong location. I mean, I'm there, but because none of us have cell phone service where we are, I have to drive into town to try to track them down so I can get cell phone service again.
Because you want to be in this video.
Oh yeah,
Are they paying you a lot?
they're paying me.
Good.
I mean, I didn't want I mean, money versus free. I wanted the money part for sure.
Okay.
But
Goldwell Open Air Museum is an outdoor sculpture park near the ghost town of Rhyolite,
that's true.
at the northern end of the Amargosa Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Komodo dragon is the largest living land.
The
lizard.
Last Supper was one of the sculptures, but the ghost rider, there's a guy,
Nailed it.
Jesus riding a bike, apparently, a ghost about to ride a bike. A tribute to Shorty Harris, which looks like just...
So I saw only one religious statue correctly, and the rest were just other
You
statues.
were
Yes.
just making stuff up.
Yeah.
Good.
that seems more appropriate, yes.
I love small town desert America because on the way out you are passing, I guess, somewhere near Area 51.
Uh-huh.
So at some point you pass everything that's alien themed.
Alien
Yeah.
jerky.
Yes, alien jerky, the alien center for gasoline and
Yes, exactly.
snacks. Like
Little Ailey Inn.
yeah,
Oh, really? They have little alien?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
that is good.
Yeah.
There's also an alien brothel. I don't know if you'd like that as well.
I would like that very much.
And I was wondering, we were debating because we none of us went
Formally?
Yes, formally debating. Yes, there was a
Harvard rules.
There's minutes, cross examinations of what we thought the alien brothel would be.
30 seconds to Donnelly. What do you think the alien brothel will be?
At first, I thought it was ladies dressed up in alien costumes.
Okay, keep talking.
29 more seconds,
You
Mr.
yield your
Donnelly.
seconds. And then someone else brought up is like it probably involves people.
When you say ladies, are you
Yeah.
talking 70s bad acoustic music, or are you talking someone that actually has royalty?
You mean someone with alien royalty?
That word bothers me so much. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
ladies. Ladies dressed up as aliens.
Oh, okay. Women
Women.
dressed up as aliens. Chicks.
Yeah.
And then one person also brought up maybe the fact that it's actual aliens and the way they thought they could start an economy here on Earth was a brothel. That was probably a little far-fetched. But then someone else just brought up it probably just specializes in butt stuff. And I was like, that makes the most sense.
You mean they do anal probes on you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pegging.
Yeah.
Pegging with a new name.
Yeah. Pegging Ranch is what they should be called. Instead, it's called the Alien Brothel.
Was there really an alien brothel?
It really was an alien brothel. And when someone said it's probably just for butt stuff, I was like, oh,
Of course.
okay.
But you didn't go into the alien brothel?
I didn't. I was working.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were being responsible.
It was a little too close to the religious statues.
I had just gotten my calling back to Jesus. There was no way I was going to go into an alien brothel.
Now, I think alien brothel close to religious statues is feature, not a bug.
Yeah. Maybe they have to wait till dark, though.
Yeah.
But I'm now interested, not in your joke, but
Okay.
rather in what it really is.
Okay.
It's a alien-themed brothel.
Yeah.
So you maybe go in and...
I was also I again took your I'm recalling an order. So I took your curiosity as very seriously as well and was bothered as well. So I spent lunch Googling the alien brothel.
Okay.
It turns out it's the famous guy Dennis
Oh, yeah, there's Hoff.
Hoff,
He's a friend of mine.
Onlyinyourstate.com.
and he opened it because it's near Area 51,
Uh-huh.
and it is just women who dress up in alien costumes.
They dress up as aliens.
Yeah.
Wow.
A sex vacation destination that caters to customers with extraterrestrial fantasies.
Which is nobody.
I think this is probably like, the side business of just regular brothel that probably does quite well at the alien brothel.
Caters specifically to people wearing carrots under their headbands.
Just a bunch of like a tinfoil hat rack.
Yeah.
just take it off.
Upon your arrival to the brothel, don't forget to inquire about the complimentary tour with one of the facility's cosmic kittens. This tour will definitely be one of the highlights of your experience.
The tour? The
Yeah,
tour is the highlight of my
apparently.
If you're
experience.
going to a brothel and the tour is the highlight of your experience, wow. Hey, I was kind of down on my luck, and I decided to turn to prostitution, and I, went to a few places, and they rejected me, but I got into the alien brothel. That's a sentence that would make me sob uncontrollably.
No, that's the highlight of my trip.
have a
Somewhere out there's a
website.
guy who like always creams his jeans at regular museum tours that finally finds a place where he belongs. I just love tours. I love being waved towards places.
Yeah, I love zoning out while people are pointing at something.
The tour is definitely a highlight.
AlienCatHouse.com. There's pictures of the girls.
1917, huh?
Now, are the pictures of the girls like the billboard ads that run around Vegas have pictures of the girls, or they have pictures of the girls?
Yeah, well,
We'll never know.
there's only one way to answer that.
One of the women on the
Everybody in the car.
there's one of the women on the big ad that always has been running in Vegas for 30 years with the same women on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
The 6969 one. One of them was
Wait a
definitely.
minute, isn't 6'9" also a sexual term?
Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
I actually did bring that up one time. Someone goes, "Oh, I never figured out the numbers just all 16." One of the women on
Well, there
that.
she is.
Is Yvonne Craig available?
Reddy brought up a picture. It says from Star Trek. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She was not.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Too Earth-like.
We're here trying to figure out who would be the market for that. And the market.
And Reddy Rich is already pulling up.
Turns out there was
his ideal.
Here's the outfit I'd like you to wear.
This is what I think is fascinating. This is what I was talking about at this. A while ago, I think it was Subaru cornered the market on lesbians. Do you know this? Like it was eventually there was a stereotype of saying that like they called Subarus like lesbian cars.
Yeah.
Subaru did market research and it turns out they actually did have a lot of lesbians drive their cars.
Uh-huh.
So back when it was in the 90s, maybe was considered more controversial, was just to blatantly target gay people.
Uh-huh.
They put ads together that targeted lesbians that heterosexual people would look at and not get. You know, so it would show like two women not holding hands, but two women getting out of a Subaru at a beach and being like, "Go where you want to go, be who you want to be." And then like regular people would be like, "Oh, okay, that's a Subaru ad," and lesbians would be like, "That car's for me."
Because it does not take much to sell something to a lesbian.
Well, this was successful. This was a successful campaign.
Oh, I wasn't questioning you.
Yeah.
Back off.
But that's it. So you and I just brought up the alien brothel and went back and forth with all the different scenarios as to what it would take for us to kind of want to go there or enjoy it. Reddy turned around a picture of what he was hoping was there and was ready to rock. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, seriously, without a joke, would you go to an alien brothel?
No,
What part of it do you not like, the brothel or the alien?
both.
Okay.
So no, he's not the ideal man. He just wants to fuck Yvonne Craig from Star Trek.
Yeah,
Isn't that like Emo Phillips' wife or something?
I hope not. She's dead.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Wouldn't stop.
Emo's wife was on a Star Trek episode.
Because I know that
And she
Emo
does
shows up at
conventions,
Star
yeah.
Trek conventions because his wife is signing pictures.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
So is this story still continuing?
I don't know. I do a music video and I go home.
Were you dancing in the music video?
No, I wish.
What were you playing?
I was playing a truth seeker.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
Neither do I. So they dressed me all in black and put a hooded sweatshirt on me and had me walk around the desert.
They put a hooded sweatshirt on you and had you walk around the desert, not do any jokes or speak in any way.
None.
So none of the actual things you would hire Matt Donnelly for.
Correct.
Other than the physical presence.
The fella, the lead singer,
They just wanted to hang out with you.
Jonathan Kaplan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just absolutely wanted me to.
And
come
were
out
you
and
the
do
only
video.
truth seeker?
No, he was the other. Well, he was a narrator and a truth seeker. The funniest thing about Jonathan hired a company to make this video, so he wasn't on board with the artistic nature of it either. He kind of been like, "Yeah, I'm dressing like this. I guess you're dressing like that. I don't know. I just made a song and I need to make a video in order to sell the song."
Do you still sell songs with videos?
I think in that type of
Industrial pop.
yes,
Duh.
I think those videos are vital to do industrial pop.
Okay.
It was cool looking stuff, but yeah, I put on a hooded sweatshirt and I walked around the desert.
Okay.
Kipley Brown, Emo Phillips' wife.
Okay.
Kipley Brown. Good.
Kipley.
Don Rickles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at his, I believe, last run in Vegas.
Were you?
And it was a great
That's-
show. Really fun.
I'm kicking myself. I never saw him in Vegas.
You never? Did you ever see him at all?
No.
You know, I wrote up a thing for CNN.
He was scheduled to play the Smith Center. And I was supposed to go to that, and then I was finally going to go see him, and he died.
Don Rickles was fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're going to do that, if you're going to do insult comedy, especially if you're going to do insult comedy with ethnic, racial, gender things tied in with it, you're going to stand more naked on stage than Allen Ginsberg. You know, Allen Ginsberg said the poet must stand naked on stage. And when you do something like that, the entire audience just does a read of you, complete, you know, and they have to say, is this man a racist? Is this guy a bad guy? He's screaming at us. He's saying stuff that's appalling. Is he a bad guy? And it just seems to me that when you do that act, you appear to be the one in charge, and you're actually the absolute bottom.
Right.
All one person has to say in the audience is, I can't believe you believe that. You know, that's awful that you believe that. And your whole act and personality crumbles. And it's just fascinating to me that you have to be so pure of heart. It's like some sort of test.
Yeah.
It's like pulling Excalibur out of the stone, you know?
Right.
If you are pure enough of heart, you can do these jokes. But if you had a little bit of racism somewhere in your heart, you can't do the act.
Right.
The act won't be funny. The act won't be right. And Don Rickles used to do this kind of maudlin part in the middle where he'd say, just stop dead and say, I live for the day when every racist rots in hell, essentially, right in the middle of his act. And I always felt that part was redundant. because it was in his face for the first time. But I first saw Don Rickles at the Latin Casino, which is like a dinner theater place outside of Philly, right? And the Latin Casino is where I saw Steve Martin. The Latin Casino is where I saw Sammy Davis Jr. Those are the kind of acts they brought in. And I think it was Teller. And I went, and this was 75. So 75, I've seen the Ramones, okay? Sex Pistols haven't hit yet. Jonathan Richman, I'm listening to all the time. And I am, I'm 20 years old, and I'm a punk. I'm just a punk, you know. I'm wearing a black leather jacket and sneakers, ripped jeans, and I want to go see Rickles. I want to go see Rickles a little bit ironically, see this old comic, and also because I'm working kind of sort of in comedy. I'm a juggler, and kind of sort of because I'm interested, and kind of sort of because my mom and dad loved him. But there's really complicated reasons I go in there. And at that time, I was under the impression that the people I liked in music were special. They were magic. And I had this feeling that Iggy Pop and the Ramones, the kind of passion and sweat and violence of their work was what attracted me. And my feeling was, if you were an old schooler or Rat Packer or something like that, what we were rebelling against, besides the Eagles and Steely Dan and Doobie Brothers, was this old school stuff, right? So as a punk, we didn't like hippies, but as a punk, we also didn't like the old school and success and authority.
The establishment, yeah.
The establishment. So I did not go to Don Rickles because I thought I wouldn't like him. But I went to Don Rickles thinking that it was going to be something different than I saw in the shows that I loved, And I would have just barely have seen maybe Talking Heads, maybe The Damned. And we were seated, as I recall, which means not correctly, way over stage left, okay, way over audience right. And we didn't have great seats, right? And Don Rickles working center stage. And then I was able to see Don Rickles walk out between his final joke and his encore. And I got to see him in the wings taking a drink of water and getting ready to go back on. And what I saw in the wings there was raw power. I saw a man covered in sweat in a tuxedo.
Right.
But he was, as I recall, stamping his feet, almost running in place, with his fists clenched, and this bottle, a drink of water, wasn't bottles of water then, but a glass of water, just drinking it down, wiping his face, and then just standing there, pulsating, radiating. I mean, you could not have told the difference if he were going to run back on stage and sing lead with the Stooges taking the place of Iggy Pop. When he was out there, it was one kind of energy, but backstage it was precisely the Ramones and Iggy Pop. And I remember sitting there, staring at Don Rickles, just, I see. This part of show business and art that I'm enjoying is not special. This is what great people do. And to realize, when I realized that Dean Martin was the Ramones and Don Rickles was Iggy Pop, that's probably the moment it became possible for me to play Vegas.
Huh.
30 years ahead. And Don Rickles, he's in the Aristocrats, which I believe the number of people in the Aristocrats who are dead now is 13 or 14.
Mm-hmm.
We've lost a lot of Aristocrats. And Rickles was amazing to work with. And I saw him on Fallon. Last time we were on Fallon, we were on with Rickles. And I have a great deal of respect for Jimmy Fallon. And I know He shouldn't have had Trump on and been, he shouldn't have been apolitical. There's a lot of stuff that people don't like about Fallon. People say the interviews are about him and not about the guests. There's a lot of ways to trash him. But Fallon's a good guy. And I used to think you had to be a crazy, unpleasant psychopath to host a late-night talk show. And Conan O'Brien, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel all showed you didn't have to be that. Jimmy Fallon is nice, humble, polite, sweet, smart. Everything's great about him. And I have a great deal of respect for him. But never as much as when he had Rickles on. Because he had Rickles on, this is less than a year ago, I suppose. And Rickles in 90. And Rickles was not doing well. And there was no reason for Jimmy Fallon to have Rickles on. That's not a huge get. It's not big ratings.
Right.
And Fallon's show is shot, as they call it, live to tape. You start the show, you end the show at the time, and that just goes out, and they switch the cameras in real time. And occasionally go back and grab a special camera angle or something. But Jimmy Fallon, sat there with Don Rickles. He helped him to his seat. He introduced him in a way that you wouldn't see him getting to his seat. And then Jimmy Fallon did a fabulous interview with Don Rickles. But Jimmy Fallon took 15 minutes to do a 4-minute interview. And Jimmy Fallon, without showing any disrespect to Rickles, was doing the edit points in his head and was making it, was making it so Don Rickles would look fabulous.
Right.
Making sure that he got the punchline, and Fallon kept just setting it up and just making sure that Rickles could kill it on every single front, and not letting the audience know, no sort of like, hey, we're going to edit this out, don't worry about this, but doing a full interview of 15 minutes that Fallon knew how it could be cut and would be cut so that Rickles would be on that show and absolutely killing. And I went back and hugged Fallon and said, I've always respected you, but this is a level of really understanding what Jimmy Fallon's position is in show business. And one of the things Jimmy Fallon must do to be a good person is show respect to someone like Rickles. And it was just a wonderful thing to see. And then I wish I could tell you what Rickles said to me backstage quietly, just the two of us, the joke he made. But I think it would offend too many people. But it was an astonishing thing to say. And Rickles was so kind to us and sweet to us and terrific. He was in a wheelchair and still, and I realize this contradicts what I said about Fallon, still sharp and funny. But, sharp and funny backstage with guys, and Fallon knew that for his show, it had to be machine gun.
Yeah.
So, that 15 minutes that he did with him would have thrilled you. But I'm not sure for Fallon's audience he needed to do some editing.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
The live show that I saw was good, was really good. And he was really funny and was really sharp. And yes, he was in a wheelchair, but he brought people up out of the audience to make fun of them. Would you two young guys come up here? You're a loser. You're a dick. It was so great to have him still be that funny, and just know that he's in a wheelchair. We're just going to accept that.
Yeah.
And it was a great show.
The energy that came off.
Yeah.
Rickles had a desperation that generation didn't have.
Right.
It's not what you get out of Sinatra or Dean Martin or any of those guys. You don't get this kind of, I got to get out there, I got to do. And he seemed like, I saw him in the Latin Casino in 75. He was a huge established star and had been for 15 years.
Yeah.
And it was like it was open mic night. And he had to go out and kill it.
And he treated most conversations like that. His book, by the way, if you haven't read his book is amazing. I read his book. His book is fantastic. And his friendship with Sinatra is well documented in that book. And that's a fascinating friendship as well.
Yeah.
And I listened to a long interview with him with Terry Gross. you know, the classic Terry Gross interview. And that's what you realize. He is one of the most likable, most joyful people. And all he wants to do is light up every table he sat down at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he didn't have the success of other people of his era with sitcoms and movies and stuff.
Well, CPO Sharkey.
Right. CPO Sharkey was where it begins.
For
and ends
example.
And that's the thing. He was so much himself that he didn't translate like that. You didn't want to see him play other characters or other people.
Right.
He was so much. When you saw Don Rickles, you just wanted Don Rickles.
Yeah.
And his favorite thing to do would be sit around the table busting balls with everybody else.
And
Like you're saying, if you don't exactly know that person's heart, if you don't exactly know their intention, you can't do that act. When he comes out and says something horrible right off the bat, everyone laughs.
But it's also the problem with the Comedy Central Chevy Chase roast.
Yeah.
Is they tried to roast Chevy Chase and they all hated him.
Right. And that's the thing. Is I've written for other people's roasts, things like that. And the hardest thing to teach someone who doesn't normally do it is joy.
Yeah.
You have to. It has to be a guilty pleasure, like to smile on the inside. And the harsher you're going to say, the bigger the beaming smile should be in your heart as you say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so hard to teach people. Like, no, if you do this, but enjoy the shit out of it with a shit-eating grin on your face, and say this horrible thing, the audience will love you. If you apologize for it at all, they will hate your guts and feel like horrible people for having listened to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rickles, that's his whole act.
Yeah.
You know, and we try to stay. I've where you worked with me on the D. Snyder roast.
Right.
Oh, it's so difficult. It's such a
Yeah,
difficult thing, and I think it's because I guess I've just damned myself, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just.
We
said,
know your heart.
You know my heart, so I can't do it. I am just a little ball of hate. That's what I just admitted to. Right?
No, but even like, so like he got famous for working in the Vegas rooms where all of a sudden celebrities would walk in and he would call them out and the audience would start roaring with laughing because he didn't insult those people. But what he really was doing was breaking the tension of what it was like. So the audience goes like, holy shit, Frank Sinatra just walked in here.
And wasn't the first joke you made to Frank Sinatra was make yourself at home, beat someone up?
Yeah. Make yourself at home, Frank. Hit somebody. And that also is Frank Sinatra's tension. I'm going to come into this room. I don't want to like call attention to myself. I just want to watch comedy or whatever. Yeah. And so he does a joke like that, and it makes everyone just laugh, acknowledge exactly what's happening in the room, and everyone can go back to doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it takes that kind of a person to be able to pull that off.
And Don was so effusive and kind and complimentary backstage in a way that made it so he then had to do an insult so that people would have a story.
Yeah.
You know, he would do all the nice to see you, it's so great, so glad to see you guys on TV, da-da-da-da, come here.
Yeah.
I got a joke for you.
Howard Stern, I guess, like one time Kimmel threw like a huge birthday party for him in Los Angeles and invited like a ton of celebrities, like all A-list people all around. And Stern says he sat down next to Don Rickles, and he said he spent half the party talking to Don Rickles, and Don Rickles would just look around the room, point out at every A-lister, and just make jokes to Stern, and just make fun of everybody who was in the room.
Yeah, we did a party. We were the dancing monkey for a party at Barbara Streisand's house, and it was Barbara Streisand, Dustin Hoffman. I mean, everybody there. I just named two people.
Yeah, Spielberg.
Yeah, everybody.
You say Hoffman and Streisand, we assume everyone.
Yeah.
Just assume
And
everyone.
also Bob Newhart and Don Rickles were there at a table. That was the table you wanted to get to.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
that is the table.
Yeah, that's
Because that's where you'd realize, like, I guess a layman wouldn't understand that those two speak the same language.
they're the same person.
Exactly.
The exact same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that the punchlines come from the same exact place. But
Yeah.
wow, that would be amazing to be.
They were amazing to be around. Really great. I mean, imagine seeing Bob Newhart in like '63. Must have been mind-blowing.
Well, it's great. It's great to go back and listen to those comedy albums. You forget that Bob Newhart was that.
Yeah, Bob Newhart was out.
Yeah.
He was way out. He was nutty. He was a far-out act. Yeah, Bob Newhart, who we think of as dead center mainstream,
Yeah.
Well,
was a whack job.
He had the Fred Willard thing, but down even more so. Fred Willard, you can kind of get that there's I think it's bizarre to find out there isn't a wink.
Yeah.
You think there must be.
Yeah.
Bob Newhart, you never got a sense there's a wink to it at all.
No.
And meanwhile, he's definitely like the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Always. And, those guys, Buddy Hackett. I had a thing happen, I saw this thing where I saw Buddy Hackett get heckled. Right? And Buddy Hackett, after he was heckled, Buddy Hackett said, "What did you say?" And the guy repeated the heckle, and then Buddy Hackett ripped him to pieces and destroyed him. And he said afterwards, "You probably wonder why I said, 'What did you say?' You might wonder why I said that before doing the heckle. I wasn't treading water to think of something to say. I have all my comebacks ready." But he said, "I was once doing a show, and someone yelled something, and I really didn't understand what they said." And he said, "So I ripped her completely to pieces, and I finished, and it was uncomfortable in the audience. I didn't know why. And then someone in the front said she had just yelled out, 'We love you, buddy.'" And I did 2 minutes ripping her apart. And he said, "So now I'm very, very careful." So
Lisa Lampanelli says this is the hardest thing to deal with is "I love you" heckles. When
Yeah.
you get big and you play bigger places. And I've seen this happen with Louis C.K. too, where people just scream like, "I love you so much, I love you," and they don't stop talking.
yeah.
So she goes, "I know you do. It's great. Shut up." It's just like it's the only thing you can do is just tell them to shut up.
When I saw Zappa, Frank Zappa's on stage,
You were the one shouting, right?
and someone yells, "Frank Zappa!" And Frank went, "If you want attention, yell your own name."
Wow.
So I thought it was pretty good.
That's great.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Yell your own name. So there was a guy in the audience, and he was unpleasantly enthusiastic.
Mm-hmm.
Guy about early 50s, maybe, and trim and energetic. And every time I looked in that direction of the audience, his hand went up to be picked, and he was bouncing like a puppy. And I thought, I don't want to get this guy on stage.
Yeah.
But it came time for the elephant, and, so I brought him on stage then, and he's bouncing out of his mind. And he comes over to me after the show with this huge grin on his face. And, he starts kind of hugging me. And he, "I love the show, love the show, love the show." And I'm just about, which I never do, but I've taken a breath to say something like, "Calm down and get off me," but in some way that's slightly funny in front of the whole audience.
Mm-hmm.
And then he grabs my neck and he pulls me down to him so that my face, so his mouth is right in my ear. And I'm about to do a thing that says, "Get away from me." And the security people are kind of moving in,
Yeah.
not moving in, but I mean, they're aware.
Paying attention.
They're aware.
Pulling back their slingshots and their crossbows.
Yeah, they're paying attention. And he says
Laser
to me,
dots appear on his back.
in my ear quietly, he says, 15 years ago, I decided to kill myself. I really decided to kill myself and had it all planned. And I heard you talking about no God and despair and how to handle that with your mother dying. And I decided not to kill myself while I was listening to you. And so this past 15 years that I've been alive and enjoying life is because of you. And I wanted to thank you. This is one of the greatest nights ever.
Wow.
And then he backed away and just went like, "Woohoo, woohoo." And I turned and said, "Thank you." And I said, "I'm so glad and I'm so sorry and everything and thank you."
And you're like, "Security, get this guy out of here."
Thank you, Mark. First of all, if you kill him, nothing to lose.
Sorry, it's all for the good.
Yeah.
It's all in the black from here.
And I thought to myself, wow, am I glad?
Yeah. Ooh, I was
Can
upset.
you imagine Can you imagine?
The whole never meet your heroes adage. Like, this guy saw me kill myself 15 years ago. Then I met him, and he's like, get the fuck off me.
Yeah, exactly. And what would have been is, if I had done that line beforehand,
Yeah.
you would be sitting here, the two of you going, it's 12 o'clock, where's Penn? And then Reddy would be going, I heard he hasn't left his dressing room, and they can't get him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been sobbing in there for
Yeah.
Penn, what's wrong, Penn?
5 days. You okay, man? Hey, man.
Come on, man. We got to do a show, podcast.
You've already missed 2 shows. Yeah, it was a really heavy moment.
Teller's just done all the tricks. He's oddly content with it. I don't know if you want to keep doing this.
Starting to run into some money.
Yeah, Teller just realized that X divided by 1 is higher than X divided by 2. He just realized that. And I think there's no turning back. I think you might at best now be able to do X divided by 1.7. I think that's your best bargaining position right now. And it may go to 1.6. And he's also realized he can fire the sound crew. And that's just money in his pocket. Pulling down the PA. Yeah. So
Wow.
pretty heavy moment.
Now, not in as a odd fashion, but you've gotten stuff like that before, and it's always uncomfortable. You said part of being show business is getting way too much credit for doing things for other people.
Yeah, I didn't help him.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't. And I know that. I mean, I want you to really know that I know that.
Yeah.
I was doing whatever I was doing, and he happened to find what he needed, that he hung on to that. He's not wrong, but it's
Right.
not me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could have been a Mickey Mouse cartoon. It could
Right.
have been whatever happened to hit that part in his heart.
Positive message that at that
Or
moment.
or it wasn't a particularly positive message.
Right.
Like,
From what he
you'll
described.
get
It was-
through it. Is your
yeah,
message.
whatever it was.
It's
he
something in
found-
his brain, a good part of his brain, a healthy part of his brain, reached out for something to say like,
Yeah.
don't.
A rope.
And I'm not. I don't want to show him disrespect by saying it wasn't that,
Yeah,
but it wasn't me.
I understand. Yeah,
You know, it's-
you
it's-
didn't call him up and say, "Hey, buddy."
But all the same,
Yeah,
if I had, if I'd have said anything
Right.
there,
You didn't do anything right, but you could have done a lot
yeah,
wrong.
exactly, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that was a dangerous thing.
your margin for success and your margin for failure were really unfair margins, very unfair margins.
I'm going to tell this story very, very quickly because it's someone else's story. And it's always stupid to tell someone else's story, but it made me laugh so much. Brett Loudermilk, who you know I have a
Yeah.
huge crush on.
Yeah.
Everybody has a huge
We all
crush
do.
Our
on.
sword swallower pal.
Yeah. Who, the whole interview was us just flirting with him.
Yes.
I saw him again at the Peacock Theater. And afterwards we got to talking. Well, I mean, I chased him around the room to talk to him. And we didn't just fall into conversation. And he was talking about crazy gigs he'd done, right?
Yeah.
And he talked about, and I just love this. I love this. He was doing a show in Dubai, the birthday party for the King of Nigeria, who actually wears a crown. And there were a lot of women who looked like they may have been from Russia
Okay.
and may have been employed at the time.
Were they wearing alien costumes? Or
No.
was it-
He didn't even look up. If we say trains, he looks up. No, he doesn't. He's completely in his own world now. Nothing gives him. Did you ever say aliens are trains?
No.
Okay. So,
Should I replay the tape?
he does his sword swallowing act for the King of Nigeria, and at the end of the show, when they're applauding, the King of Nigeria stands up and everybody stops applauding, and it's totally quiet as he comes over and shakes your hand. Then you walk off stage in complete silence until the king sits down again, right? So afterwards, Brett gets to meet the King of Nigeria.
Wow.
And they're going to have a brief, perfunctory conversation.
I would be nervous about this for several reasons.
You could die. Well, what's the other?
Yeah. Well, is that I don't know. Like other performers have gotten in trouble for doing like big gigs for terrible people.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I know nothing about the King of Nigeria.
Mhm.
I don't know whether he is a fantastic person
Well,
or whether he is committed.
Despot.
All
We
you
don't
need to know
Yeah.
is that he speaks perfect English.
Okay.
That's important for the rest of the story.
Okay. Good.
So he says to Brett Loudermilk something about, your sword swallowing act. And Brett Loudermilk says, the greatest thing ever. The greatest thing ever. Brett Loudermilk looks in the eyes of the king of Nigeria and says, "Hey, I get an email from your son." Isn't that great?
Yes.
But then, what does the king of Nigeria say?
Oh.
Because Brett's thinking he could say, have him put to death.
Yeah.
He could say, what are you doing?
Yeah.
The king of Nigeria says, good. And the money is on its way. Which means to me, other
Right.
people make that joke in the king of
Exactly.
Nigeria.
Yeah.
He's got an answer to it.
Yeah.
So
You got a
enough
line.
people have made that
Yeah.
joke. He didn't just come up with it. There's an answer to it. How great is that?
Yeah, and someone
That's
else's
his
story.
version of, can you juggle my books?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You make my wife disappear? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna
I'm
say
from
that.
Brooklyn. For $50, make anybody disappear. Yeah. You have to have your answer.
Yeah.
And he has it.
Yeah,
The money's on its way.
yeah. That means there was trial and error, and the king finally has his line.
We're not saying, by the way, that the king of Nigeria does not have his line anyway. We don't need a Nigerian hit squad coming after Penn Sunday School. What else do I want to get to? I was at the Peacock Theater, and do you know this guy? Marcus Monroe?
No.
Okay, Marcus Monroe is the juggler, and Marcus Monroe, I really loved.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved his act. I don't know how old he is, in his 20s, 30. And he has what is now Variety Arts hair. Do you know what Variety Arts hair is?
No.
Every single variety artist now has the exact same haircut. It's unisex. There was a hula hooper woman, had the same haircut.
Okay.
They have very long hair that they then comb back.
Uh-huh.
Long straight hair they comb back. And then at some point during their act, they shake their head and the hair comes directly down in their face. And they do that look for a while. And then as they get more into their act and get more
Sweatier.
excited and sweatier, they take their hand, they push the hair in the hair, and then they hold it so it's straight up. So it looks unkempt and like they're working really hard, right? And a little bit funny. Everybody has that now. And everybody does those beats in their show. It's just, it used to be Circus Arts hair was kind of a closely cropped, curly-headed, Shields and Yarnell. But now it's long and it's straight and it has to fall in your face, and then you do that. Okay. Well, he has Variety Arts 2017 hair. And this is amazing. He giggles during his act.
Mm-hmm.
He tells jokes. He juggles knives. He juggles an apple. He rides a 7-foot unicycle that he gets 2 people up from the audience to help him up.
Sure.
He has trouble riding the unicycle. I saw Godot's act on this exact stage last time I was at the Peacock, holding the same places you were holding.
Right.
And I believe 15 years ago, I would have been furious. Gone backstage and said, "This is Godot's act."
I have to kill you. Yes.
Yeah. And this time, the feeling I had was just sweet.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have any of your specific jokes.
Right.
He didn't have even your jokes when he was getting up on the unicycle. Yeah, he held the guy's shoulders.
Sure.
But he had a different point of view, an honest point of view. The thing he did with the knives and the apple, I really, really liked. He said, you might think these aren't sharp. And he then cut the apple up, okay?
Right.
And then picked up the pieces and said to the guy in the front row, I have a present for you. And he handed him all the pieces of apple and said, put them together. I'd start with the core. It's like an edge piece. Okay? Then he finishes the act, comes down from the unicycle, and then says, "Show them the apple."
Uh-huh.
And the guy holds up the apple that he's reassembled from the pieces.
Wow.
And the crowd goes wild. And Marcus says that happens 1 out of 10 times. The guy sits there and puts the apple back together. And the rest of the time, he's got another
Yeah, there's another out for that.
joke
yeah.
for it. And he dances and does
Right.
all this stuff. And he's very Bobcat Goldthwait. His
Okay,
voice is
sure.
Bobcat Goldthwait. He's at that pitch
Right.
and kind of that rhythm.
The old Bobcat.
Old Bobcat,
Yeah.
yeah. Kind of at that pitch and that rhythm,
Sure.
coupled with, and and this is the stuff that makes me crazy, his run around nothing trick is clean 5 clubs with a low ceiling.
Right.
I mean,
Sure.
people are so good now. They're
Yeah,
just so good.
Yeah, they're better jugglers than we've ever
Yeah.
even dreamed of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really, I don't know, I believe the change is not in him. I believe the change is in me, because I looked at him and said, first of all, he had none of your jokes,
Right.
which makes a huge difference.
Sure.
I mean, that may be everything.
Yeah.
But I didn't ask him, which is strange, but I would not be surprised if he'd seen you.
Right.
And he might have seen you when he was 10. And it just seemed like he was building on a culture.
Right.
And it was kind of sort of okay. And
Godot, do you agree with him?
that's what I'm asking.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I do. I think that's fine. I think if you're not doing the same jokes, you're probably okay. You doing it, even if you're trying to do an impersonation of me, most people aren't that good at it. I mean, I'm kind of trying to do an impersonation of Paula Poundstone. I'm trying to do Jake Johansson. These are flavors that have been incorporated into my act.
Yeah. Well, it felt to me like Bobcat
Right.
and then kind of Godot's nervous juggling energy.
Right.
He also had one great joke that I love, which he said, "I'm using really sharp knives. Name another juggler that does that." Name another juggler,
Yeah.
which is a great joke.
Yeah.
That's a great joke.
That's a great joke.
Yeah, and I just loved him. I just loved
Good.
him.
Now-
And now I see people do, magic stuff that we've done, or even a joke or something we've done. It doesn't bother me any longer.
So you don't hate him from an ethical perspective? You think
No.
he's clean ethically?
I think so.
Does it bother you? There's another juggler out there that's funny using a 7-foot unicycle, like just from
No.
like a
You know what?
marketing perspective.
I remembered the moments when my partner and I, working on unicycle, decided, well, we'll be out of control doing this, and we hadn't seen anyone do it. And I believe since that every unicyclist on earth has done it, and I don't know that they did it before us, and it seems pretty obvious. So maybe they did.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's-
Comedically, that's where you go with.
Right.
it.
Yeah. I know I'm not the first person to juggle and eat an apple.
You are
You
the
know
first
what?
person to do the rubber band trick. He did not do the rubber band trick.
You did not do the rubber band trick.
No.
There you go.
He also didn't eat the apple. He just demonstrated
Oh, okay.
the sharpness of the knives.
Nice.
And he also was doing really hard tricks, and he had this really weird style where he'd juggle. The music he used was "Everything Is Awesome," from
Right,
The
yeah,
Lego,
sure.
Lego movie,
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
and jumping around and
Yeah.
pulsating his dick and jumping and dancing. And
not
then
Godot.
what he
That's
would
not
do
me. That's
is
not so much me.
he would go over and he
The
would
enthusiasm of that, yes.
he would juggle really fast with this music blaring, and then he'd walk over to the mic, and the sound guy would kill the music, and he would say a joke, and then he would run back over and do this,
That's
and the music
funny.
would start
I like
again.
that. That's nice.
And then he
structure.
also did stop, ran over to the mic and went, forgot what I was going to say. Ran back.
yeah.
He would do that kind of thing, and then he'd say, "Hey, Mr. DJ, put on something kind of moody and spooky," and the music started, and he went, "Yeah, you pick something off the CD I gave you." So there was a little bit of fourth wall
Showbiz
breaking like that,
vibe.
and I liked
Nice.
him. I just liked him all the way through, and I didn't even want to. It just seemed like that wasn't an issue anymore,
Right.
And it's also the fact that you're different ages.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We're old guys now. We're
Yeah.
a legacy. We are. We're kind of finishing up, as it were.
Remember
you know
the
what I mean?
good
It's
old
not-
days when Godot was falling off a unicycle?
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
a different guy falling off a unicycle.
I got hips replaced. I'm going to go another 20 years.
you can go forever. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I wanted to point that out. And I also wondered if when I said Marcus Monroe, you were going to go, oh, that bastard.
No,
Yeah.
no. There are plenty of people doing the exact jokes in the exact same order wearing my costume. Those people I do feel differently about.
Sure.
In fact, I wrote to one of those people and said, clearly you like my material. Can I just help you write a show? They said, fuck off.
Did they really?
Yeah, they really did.
In those words?
Yeah, in those words, yeah.
Oh, dear.
So, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I guess I won't be doing that then.
No. And look at you taking that aspect and trying to actually do something classy about it, which is like, I'll just work with you.
Yeah, you like my writing. How about I help you write your own show? That would be expensive normally.
Yeah.
Well, let's end the show with this. We have a letter, and I get asked pretty often to do interviews that Glenn says no to.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a note that we got to Ready Rich. It went to
Take that, Glenn.
Question pen.
questionpenn at gmail.com, pen with two N's. And Godot, would you like to read the whole letter, please?
This is from Ian. He says, I'm an 8th grader at Elmwood Franklin School in Buffalo.
Jonesy's hometown, Buffalo, New York. Big shout out to Buffalo. Hey, Buffalo peeps. Yeah.
Buffalo. I don't know if you say that or not.
I don't know. It would be a good thing if they said that.
I would love it.
Buffalo. And you know my favorite sentence?
Yes.
Buffalo, 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 which is a correct English sentence.
Yeah.
Yep.
Buffalo, 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 Buffalo. That's the way you say it so people can understand it. Buffalo, 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 Buffalo.
Right.
And you could also do Buffalo, 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 Buffalo. And that's also a correct sentence. Police, 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 police is okay if you're talking about the band. Go ahead. Because the police, no, you put the police, police, you can do. That's a proper sentence too.
And then the Buffalo Police Department.
Who cares? Buffalo police, Buffalo police, police, Buffalo, Buffalo
I'm sorry,
police.
Ian. We ran out of time.
That is correct, though, isn't it? Buffalo police, police, Buffalo police, Buffalo police. It's correct. Go ahead.
Ian is researching how the different aspects of magic affect the brain. Says, I've been interested in magic
The
most of my life.
proper effect, too.
Yes, it is the proper effect. I have been interested in magic most of my life, and I am particularly interested.
He's 8th grader. Most of his life.
Most of his life.
How much is that?
2 years.
All he needs is 8th grader. You're what? You're 15?
Yes.
So 8 years. You started at 7. Okay, we believe you. Go ahead, Ian.
I've been interested in magic most of my life, and I'm particularly interested in how the brain works and why experts like you,
like me, but being
kiss
Penn,
ass,
expert.
Experts like you can manipulate it so easily.
So easily, yeah.
During my research, I realized that I could not at least try to contact you.
Maybe you should talk to his English teacher, too, but go ahead.
And I would very much appreciate it if you could answer the following questions. And here's the question number one. How do you practice your tricks?
I don't. Go ahead.
Wow. Seems the big problem is that once you practice a trick on someone and mess up once, they know where to look and you can't trick them again.
This is the difference between juggling and magic in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's also the problem with comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What you're doing in magic, when he says an expert, all he means is that I have perhaps a more refined model of another person than a beginner. That's all you have. You know, when you're reading the New York Times is written for an ideal New York Times reader, right?
Yes.
They have in their mind that when they say Shakespeare, they don't have to say William Shakespeare, playwright, right?
Yes.
They know what there's an exact New York Times reader. And when I'm reading the New York Times and I don't understand a reference, I realize that that's because I am not at the education level that they're expecting from a New York Times reader. When you're doing magic, you build an elaborate model in your head of it's exactly what you do in comedy. You know, when you're working on a joke, you've got a model for who that person is, and you're able to step out of yourself into that model pretend to be that person and decide what you think of it.
Right. We need to match within the realm of knowledge of the people who you're working for.
And their sensibility and their taste.
Right.
You're doing all of that. This is why jugglers are able to, they practice a trick, they can video it, look at it and see what they think of it, and be done. Okay? They have to have a model of someone who doesn't know juggling, and they sometimes mess that up, but they can practice over and over again. For sleights, you can practice them by yourself in a mirror. But for psychological stuff, not only can you not learn that, but also, even if you have your mother, your father, your sister, and your friend to try stuff on, they don't have the same relationship with you the audience does. There are tricks that you might be able to do as an 8th grader that would not fool your mom, that would fool everybody else, because she knows what awkward moves you have. Now, most people would say, your mom will pretend she's fooled, and other people won't. Mothers don't have that kindness.
No.
Once you've shown your mother 4 magic tricks, you have burned her.
Yeah.
She will bust you on everything, and she will grow to hate you. Take it from someone who knows.
And she also doesn't want you to go on stage and make a fool of yourself.
She doesn't?
Well, in other words, like if she's busting you,
Yeah. So
She's worried about her baby getting hurt later.
to tell you what Teller did, okay, when Teller was just out of high school, he had a job, okay? And I can't imagine Teller having a job, but he did. And it was something like a regular job, like stock boy or something. And he had coworkers, which I can't imagine Teller with coworkers who wouldn't kill him. And to make it even worse, every night after work, he would go home to the Royal Road of Card Magic, which is Teller's favorite magic book, Royal Road to Card Magic. And he would learn one trick from there. He would practice it and go in the next day and do it for his coworkers at lunch. He promised himself he'd do that every day, and he'd do it. What you have to do, and this is the part of close-up magic I never got good at, is you must learn to walk up to everybody, even in inappropriate situations, and say, want to see a trick. Because you got to do the early tricks for 50 different people. Yes, you burn each one of them every time they are dead. Do a different trick for them, but they are burned forever. So the problem that he's articulated here is the real problem. And there's not an easy solution. The best thing to do is, if you're in 8th grade and your parents are having friends over, go down and take them aside one by one and do the trick for them.
Yeah.
And the next time they're over, do it again. It's you just have to learn to say, want to see a trick. When you go to Starbucks, you've got to say to the person at the next table, want to see a trick. And you will be rejected. And it is awful, but you've got to do that. I never got good at it. The magicians who are really, really good will go up to anybody and say, want to see a trick, and do a trick for them. Well, actually, it's even better. Want to see a trick? No. Here you go. Even the no answer doesn't slow them down.
Yeah,
They
like a
still do a trick. I forget who it is, but there's a famous quote that says, it's like Arthur Conan Doyle, but it's not. It's like that. So when you find out who it actually is, you'll say, oh, that guy's like Arthur Conan Doyle in Penn's head. It's a way to learn about me.
Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Yeah. Or might have been Noel Coward
Noel Coward.
or Oscar Wilde, who to me are the exact same person, who said, he asked if I liked card tricks. I said no. He did 5. That's what you get. Okay, next question.
How long, on average, does it take to practice a trick?
Well, there's 2 things that that are conflated often: practice and rehearsal. And Teller loves rehearsal, doesn't like practice. I love practice, don't like rehearsal. You've seen me rehearse.
Yeah.
Stand on stage, mumble the lines in street clothes. You've seen Teller rehearse, full out in wardrobe. You've seen Teller practice, full out in wardrobe doing the whole routine. You haven't seen me practice. I practice alone. I like that idea of doing something over and over. Practice is learning the absolute skill. Rehearsal is learning the routine. Now, I want to tell you that these are very specific definitions that I use. I believe they also overlap the world, but not as strictly as I use them. You know, people say to me, "Do you like to practice?" I say, "Yes, I hate to rehearse." You know, it depends. Many of the skills we are right to our strengths, so we know what we're able to do, and we write tricks that use that. So a lot of times there's not practice. When we were working on Atheist Deck of Cards, I decided how to play guitar. I don't play guitar. I spent about 2 years taking guitar lessons and practicing to be able to play that. When Teller decided to do the great Tom Sony, I used to play drums as a child. I got a drum teacher in. I worked for about 1.5 years working on that specific drum stuff. Teller worked for 1.5 years on the Dove routine and the great Tom Sony, still working on it. Every night before after the show, he goes back and does it again. He practices it over and over again. Also rehearses it. Rehearses that. Practice the move over and over again. Got to get my thumb in this place and pull it out naturally. That's practice. Let's see how this fits in the routine. That's rehearsal. And, Elsie took 6 years to put the elephant vanish in. But that 6 years is not what you'd call practice. That's R&D. That's building stuff that other people do.
Right.
And coming in once a week and checking it. A lot of what you're also calling practice is writing. You know, I'm driving back and forth to the theater in the car. I will think about what I'm going to say. I don't even do it aloud in the car to just me. Many of the things, this is also, Woody Allen said that if you're going to work on a new joke, don't tell it to anybody. Don't tell it to anybody because they can't give you enough. The most a friend can give you is, it's pretty good, which will break your heart.
Yep.
Whether they like it or not will make you feel terrible. That's stupid. Do your new material the first time you say it out loud on stage Saturday night. And Bob Dylan, when he's working on a new song, doesn't sing it. Writes the lyrics, works on the guitar part. Sometimes the first time he sang that is into a microphone in front of people.
It's crazy.
I think that practice is learn your basic skills. I mean, if you're doing magic, have a perfect French drop in cards, have a perfect location, have a perfect force. You're going to need a double lift and a top change, and you're going to need a glide. Learn those perfectly, perfect top palm, perfect bottom palm. You can learn all of these on your own with a mirror or video. I say mirror, but everybody uses video now. Mirror can be more useful because it's more instant. But learn all of those.
Now,
Practice those. Just get those down, get them done. And then it's the amount of time it takes. We've had tricks. In our show right now, we have Elsie that we worked on 6 years before doing it the first time. And we have Genie Tube, which we ran for 15 minutes before we did on stage. Talked it down a lot. I talked it down and thought about it, but we didn't do it anymore. So there you go. That's how long it takes to practice.
well, more importantly, I'm sure Ian has people he's attracted to versus less attracted to. Can you talk to him about maybe who do you burn versus who do you impress and when that happens?
Well, that's a pretty obvious order. But you're going to have to face. You are going to fail at a magic trick for the attractive person you want to impress.
Okay.
And I think until you've done that, there was an article.
This is where you learn about the difference between performance and personality.
There's famous advice that Dave Vernon, the father
sure.
of modern close-up magic, there was a very, very skilled magician, crazy skilled, still working, but I won't say his name because this should be his story to tell if he tells it directly. But crazy skilled magician, nutty skilled, who studied with Dave Vernon and was at the Magic Castle. And he said, what can I do to improve my card tricks? And Dave Vernon said, sleep with women a lot, not the same woman. Sleep with a lot of different women. That's all you can do to help your card tricks. Have sex with a lot of different people.
All right.
That's what you mean by personality.
Yes.
Saying that to an 8th grader, I think, is at best confusing. Go ahead.
Are there any techniques?
Maybe illegal, by the way. What I just said
Yeah.
may be illegal. So I didn't say it.
Are there any techniques that you use to make a trick easier for yourself?
Every technique. First of all, make Teller do it.
Yeah.
I always try during the first run-throughs to kind of slide the props over to him. Wouldn't that be better in your hands? But then the problem is that people have a sense that Teller is the skilled one. So I'm less apt to get caught. So a lot of the stuff you think Teller's doing, I'm actually doing. That's as far as I'm giving up on that one. But the techniques this is what you'll find out doing it for a lot of different people. You'll find out what you can get away with because that's specific to you. I can put my hands in my pockets, Teller can't. I put my hands in my pockets, no one thinks a thing about it. Teller puts his hands in his pocket, bells can go off. So you've got to see what you can get away with. It's exactly the same as in comedy. There's a kind of joke you can do that someone else can't. I mean, you must see that with Paul.
Oh, absolutely.
The kind of joke Paul can do, and if you did it, the audience goes,
Yeah,
and vice versa.
Before a bucket show or something like that, I'll say, "Can you ask?" Or I'm gonna say this, and I want you to take this position.
Yeah.
Because like the bit in my head has me responding to you taking that position. But
And
I
you have to
can't
learn what you can get away with.
Yeah.
I can learn how much aggression I can get away with, how much I can push an audience member around on stage. I learn all of that.
Yeah.
Yes. What else?
That was it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. How do you meet women? These are just between the lines. I'm just reading some.
Well,
of these.
Ian, ask any questions you want. Any other questions, Ian?
Yeah. If you were, how would you sneak alcohol out of a store, out of the
ski
liquor
trip.
store on a ski trip?
8th grade. How old are you in 8th grade? I would try to think that.
Yeah, 15. Yeah.
14, 15.
Now, when I was 15, I had been juggling for 3 years, and I was doing shows all the time.
Right.
I was doing talent shows all the time. I was doing nursing
That's
homes.
when I started. Yeah.
12?
15.
Would you invite someone that young to go out into formal performing environments like open mics or those? types of
Absolutely.
things?
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. What you need, performing is like being a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a pilot, all they care about is how much time you spent behind the controls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many flight hours have you? Mac King, who's the greatest comedy magician in the world, as far as I know, Mac King was not good. Have you seen videos of Mac King 30 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Really not good.
Yeah.
I mean, really not good. Like also not showing potential.
Wow.
Just simply not good. And now great. And word is that George Burns was terrible till he was 40
Right.
and then fabulous. If you spend enough time in front of people, you will get good.
That's the advice I think every performer gives. Do as many shows as you can.
As many shows as you can. And
Anywhere.
especially do shows that you hate.
And
and
get
do
a job at
shows-
an amusement park where you have to do 10 a day.
Yeah, and don't do shows you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Where you really don't feel like it. That's the problem. I used to practice jazz. Then I started playing jazz with Jonesy every night. And when you go out sad, depressed, lackluster, tired, mind wandering, that's when you actually get good.
Yep.
When you're in the mood to play, you don't really improve. You're just enjoying yourself. It's when you're pushing and finding what you have to do. So it's those shows, it's the shows Teller and I did for the children in prison, which we did shows for, that there was no way to make them like us. Those are the shows you really learned from. So yeah, do a lot of shows. Ian, thank you so much for your note. I got a lot of other stuff to talk about. And
Well,
I'm going to talk.
yeah.
What? Okay,
Let's do another show.
Yeah, let's do another show. We'll do this Wednesday. That was Penn Sunday School. Cha cha cha. Cookies. We'll be back Wednesday. I want to talk about Ira Glass. I got some other stuff to talk about. I was in a mocap suit. I'll talk about that. And I was on Ask Me Another. Great show, great fun. We had a lot of stuff coming up. I also took an Uber and talked to the driver.
Whoa!
That was Penn Sunday School. Remember, I love you. Okay, let's get into this ASAP because I got that for Cockta
So
chasing.
I wanted to ask you something for a while now,
Okay,
and this seems like a good spot.
okay.
You had a breakthrough this year on intonation.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I know.
Do you know why?
No.
Okay.
Time.
Figure it out. Can you let me know?
It's amazing. I've had a huge breakthrough on it. And you're not able to improve intonation or ear after the age of 40. A lot of studies have said that. I was 45 when I started. I don't know. I'm just cleaning up my notes here.
Stand by
No,
for the
I
next
liked that
episode,
8th grade
everybody.
letter. That was good. We also gave them real answers, which we certainly didn't have to do.
I guess we didn't answer the most important question, which is
Say what?
should he try to be a magician?
Yeah. Somerset Maugham. Somerset Maugham. See? Do you like card tricks? No, I hate card tricks, I answered. Well, I'll just show you this one. He showed me 3. That is so much more accurate than anything that's ever been said on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arthur Conan Doyle, Somerset Maugham, same person. And that quotation exactly right. This is the day for celebration. Penny, do you like that grapefruit? It's a great grapefruit. It is a nice grapefruit. Okay, is everybody ready to go? Maybe I'll pee. Oh, we got spots this time. What do we got? Say what?
There's a lot of chatter about what you're fondling. Deliberately not.
Okay, we'll talk about that next. We'll talk about that.
Yes, lemon and banana.
You have a Korean melon.
Yeah.
Penny has a grapefruit. It's like we're teaching English here. Matt has a Korean melon. Penny has a grapefruit. They're walking to the library. There's a party tomorrow night at 7. Penny will bring her grapefruit. Matt will bring his Korean melon. Does Matt like Penny's grapefruit? Yes. Does Penny like Matt's Korean melon? No. Will Penny call the police? Yes. Will Matt run?
Yes.
Yes.
Will Matt get caught? Yes.
Yes. Will the other inmates like Matt's Korean melon? Yes.
Yes.
Take your mouthwash.
Say what?
Take your mouthwash with you.
Oh, you want my mouthwash? Okay. Now, is each one of these a different Allen wrench with a handle?
Yeah.
Wow.
The red are American and the blue are veteran.
European.
Not European. Literally everywhere else. Literally everywhere else.
That's why I say American instead of imperial.
Okay. Should we eat the melons on? It's part of the show. No, no, we don't want to. No, that's okay. Thanks.
Sure.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't taste very good. It doesn't feel like it has the right weight to size
Oh, okay.
ratio.
Is it heavier or lighter?
It feels too light to be good.
Oh, yeah. Then it's gonna be
Like
bad.
it
Yeah.
doesn't feel very
Yeah.
juicy.
It's supposed to be heavier.
It's clear why this was purchased. It was not for its nutrition.
Yeah, that's right. It's hired for its looks.
What's the difference between performance and personality?
Performance, I think, includes the tricks, and personality includes the fuck ups. You know, so when you fuck up the
The
trick,
way you fuck up.
the
is
way
your
you fuck up the trick,
personality.
and how you handle that fuck up is going to be.
That's interesting.
That's so much more important, I think, than the show, because then they're going to get the chance to go, wow, what a nice. I don't
Right, or
care
a
that trick.
terrible
Yeah,
person.
Exactly. You go fuck and throw the cards down there. That's
Interesting.
it's pretty clear. You.
It's like learning to fail gracefully.
Yeah.
It
And
seems like it applies
Boy,
in
Somerset
normal life.
Maugham was pretty close.
Yeah.
You're satisfied with how close together Arthur Conan Doyle and Somerset Maugham.
Yes, I am.
They're both writers.
Yeah,
They're men.
man.
All, 2 arms, 2 legs.
Probably, as far as we know, both had 2 arms and 2 legs. I'm not
Walked
sure.
upright.
But Somerset Maugham is who I met. I met Somerset Maugham. I said,
Wait, you meant that you weren't thinking of the author Sherlock Holmes. You were thinking of
I knew it was the
Somerset
name.
Maugham.
I knew it was the name of the author of Sherlock Holmes, but it was the feeling. By the way, what I know of Somerset Maugham,
I was gonna
Author.
say, I don't know anything.
author. I know author. What do you know about
I
Somerset
don't
Maugham?
remember what I don't remember what he wrote.
End of list for me.
Somerset not
Author.
I don't even know like essayist or novelist.
Somerset Maugham, Jared?
Isn't it is it W Somerset?
Yes.
Maugham. See, I've got a name.
Wow.
I didn't even have that.
You're way ahead already. You got the W.
You got the W.
Yeah, I can get you.
Okay, we're going to do a lot of Somerset Maugham Korean melon today.
Let me pull up W.
So
Yeah,
Somerset
I
Maugham.
can differentiate those.
I'm upset.
Now that you've explained the difference between performance and personality, can you
Yeah,
cover
you
the
missed
difference
that
between
definition.
big root and brush?
Yeah.
I do know the difference between big wood and brush.
That's easy too.
Yeah.
That's easy too.
Brush just
But
kind
his
of burns
cover-
out, but big wood keeps burning on.
Yeah.
For Somerset Maugham, that was the demo for the difference between the performance and personality.
What's that?
What's the difference? I said, personality is your ability to cover the fuck up. The performance doesn't include the fuck up. Oh, Jesus, we're going.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I'm reading Somerset Maugham. I don't
Let's go!
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn's Sunday School, starring Penn Jillette. My name is Michael Ludeau, and we are broadcasting from Show Creator Studios in Las Vegas. This week, Penn does some time in a motion capture suit. We'll get to the Ira Glass asked Penn to tell the truth story, and 506 people have lost 1,024,737 pounds. Here he is preaching love, Mr. Penn Jillette.
Hello, everybody. Last week, we were talking to Ira, right? Was his name? No, no.
Ira Glass.
No, not Ira Glass.
Oh, Ira the
Ian.
student.
Ian the student. Ian the student. I said that there was a quotation from someone like Arthur Conan Doyle,
Yes.
and it turns out it's W. Somerset Maugham.
Yes.
Now, Matt, pop quiz. Tell me everything you know about Somerset Maugham.
He has a name.
Mhm.
Is a man.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
You didn't know that, though. You were asking that. Is a man?
That's true.
Yeah.
Name is end of list. Then
Now, what
for
is
me.
the quotation, Jera? The correct one? It's because I got that wrong too, but I will now give you the
Gerald.
quotation. Do you like card tricks? No, I hate card tricks, I answered. Well, I'll just show you this one. He showed me 3. I had the number at 50. So I usually like to get the right order of magnitude.
Yeah.
Didn't hit it this time.
I know that they wrote something like Sherlock Holmes.
No, he didn't.
Okay, because you said that they're very close to
Very
Arthur
close.
Conan.
Playwright, novelist, short story. writer.
Playwright?
Yeah.
Playwright?
Lost both his parents at the age of 10. Actually, he's Batman. I shouldn't have blurted that out, but
What did he write?
British playwright.
Something like Death in Venice.
We'll just keep metaphorically coming very close to his accomplishments.
Yeah.
Working on it. Of human bondage.
Oh, yeah. I know that title. I've heard that
Bondage.
title before.
Okay.
Have you read anything by Somerset Maugham?
No.
Somerset's a good word, by the way.
Somerset.
Yeah,
William.
good name.
William Somerset Maugham.
Yeah, well, if you were William Somerset Maugham, you'd go with
Somerset.
Bill Maugham. You don't want to be Bill Maugham, do you?
Oh, I want you to try to spell his last name.
Maugham?
Yeah.
Maughn.
No.
Okay,
M-A-U-G-H.
M-A-U-G-H. A.
A-M.
Somerset Maugham.
Mum.
Yeah.
William Somerset Maugham.
So I tell you, we get it right. Arthur Penn said,
Arthur Conan Doyle said, if Arthur Penn talks
said,
to you,
trust the second judgment of the American people. I think that was really being said about Penn Sunday School. Second time out, we get closer.
Yeah.
Second judgment of the American people is not doing well on this Trump thing. So I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm going to say this for a second. Okay. Chemical weapons, biological weapons, that is some sort of line that has to be drawn, seems to me insane.
Ah.
That you don't draw the line before shooting someone with a gun? I mean, do you really think that people suffer less being shot with a gun? Some people think so.
I imagine in many cases you can die instantly being shot by a gun. And if
no more often than chemical. That's insane. People are wounded all the time, horribly.
No, I'm saying you could be killed instantly. I think when you picture someone dying from a gunshot, you expect it to be quick. And that's not necessarily the effect.
I will say the only difference between conventional weapons and chemical biological weapons is how much they're shown on TV with the hero doing it. There's no other reason. Because we've seen
Rambo.
Explosions blow people's legs off, their arms off, their faces off.
Yes.
Light people on fire. Children. When we're doing bombing, where we're killing civilians. Also, by the way, civilians dying, soldiers dying, it's humans dying.
Yeah.
There's not a line there either. The idea with biological weapons, you can target certain stuff. You can make people sick instead of killing them. There's stuff you could do with biological weapons. Chemical weapons, they'll also say, well, the wind could blow it in the wrong place. So you might kill the wrong people. Yeah, but you're killing people. We see pictures. I don't, because I don't look at them. But one of the reasons I may feel this way is I don't look at the pictures. It's possible that seeing a picture of your lungs foaming up into your mouth so that you can't breathe and choking you to death is more horrific than getting part of your chest blown off and dying that way. I don't know. I just think that the idea of saying...
Even if there's some kind of graduation mark that we could agree on, is it significant enough to warrant such complete different action from our leaders?
And Trump just looks at it and goes, this will not stand. I've changed my mind on this.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's a great line that our friend Brandon came up with. Brandon
Ellison,
yeah. Brandon Ellison came up with, who said, Hillary Clinton may have lost the battle, but we got her war.
Right.
One of the things I didn't like about Hillary Clinton was I felt she would bomb Syria. Now we're bombing Syria. But let's not get too drugged down in that, shall we?
No.
Let's get. You got any other stories? Nothing happened between the last show and this show? 5 minutes?
No.
Went
I
and
used
peed.
mouthwash. I peed.
Anything happened in there?
I'm a big fan of fondling things at the table.
Oh, that's
like
right.
you.
We have this.
You were very,
I brought in a very large grapefruit.
yeah.
Now, this is kind of a George Bush thing. Remember how the original George Bush didn't know what a gallon of milk costs?
Right.
I don't go to supermarkets. I don't know what anything costs. I don't know what anything is. And I go to a farmer's market every week with my son, and I have vegetable amazement.
Okay.
I have 2 implants here
Yeah.
that I fondle. Okay, these are implants that'll put you to a double D. Okay, these are pretty big implants. They're no match for the grapefruit. As a matter of fact, I believe modern grapefruits, I don't believe there are many human beings whose breasts can touch. Well, that would be odd. Of course, their breasts can touch a grapefruit. Now I'm picturing their breasts, specific breasts touching a grapefruit, and I'm enjoying it. But I'm saying grapefruits are bigger than breasts.
Okay.
I don't believe that was true. I believe that 50 years ago, 40 years ago,
Oh, now we have to look stuff
grapefruits
up.
were more
Jesus
modest in
God.
size.
Like cookies.
Cookies are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Cookies used to be, I used to get a ginger snap, and you could balance a ginger snap on the head of your erect dick.
Right.
Now,
Oddly enough, when you say you start our grapefruit getting bigger, you get can grapefruit juice really increase penis size?
see, it all ties together. Our grapefruit getting bigger?
I'm still working on it.
Because the grapefruit, this is not the biggest grapefruit. I hesitate to show it because I ate the biggest grapefruit. But I brought in the second one as kind of a show and tell. But now that I've got these implants in my hand,
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm happy. Yes, tell me, good.
Well, no, grapefruit is a hybrid originating in Barbados as an accidental cross.
It's not a hybrid of a grape and a fruit.
I didn't
There's
say
no
grapefruit.
There's no grape.
Orange
in-
and pomelo.
What's that?
Orange and pomelo.
Oh, pomelo. Palmetto.
Pomelo.
Oh, that's kind of cockroach.
No, it's not a cockroach and an orange.
What is it a hybrid of?
A pomelo is a grapefruit-like fruit.
Now, how can
Sweeter.
how can the definition of a fruit that you are the hybrid creator of be the
Yeah.
definition of grapefruit-like?
The Jamaican sweet orange and the Indonesian pomelo.
That's what you've called me that. Good.
I-
You've
yes.
called me. You've
My
said
Jamaican sweet orange.
Come on
in
over here, you Jamaican sweet orange.
yeah.
The hybrid, then called the forbidden fruit, was first documented in 1750 by a Welshman. Want to guess his name? Reverend Griffith Hughes.
Teddy Grapefruit.
The Seven Wonders of Barbados was his paper on it.
Oh,
The
what are the other
forbidden
6?
fruit.
Yeah, I don't know.
And how big were these fruits of grape at the time?
I'm still working on the. I'm still working.
How
on
big were
the-
these palmetto?
Because you
palmetto
know
grape-
when
palmetto
they did
oranges?
when they did Mad Men,
Yeah.
Mad Men, they were very, very careful about everything. And one of the things they had to do was find smaller fruit for the bowls.
Oh, interesting.
Because our fruit and our vegetables have gotten bigger and less good.
Yeah.
The fruit and the vegetables are going the way of Penn. They have less niacin in them. They have less iron in them because they are rushed to market so quickly they don't absorb as much from the soil. Did you know that?
No, I did not know
Okay, you're going to learn something.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not, we'll find out next week. Maybe I just made it up.
Yeah.
But the Somerset Maugham, who invented the grapefruit, this guy likes Somerset Maugham, invented the grapefruit. Fruits, apples were almost impossible to eat. They were bitter and sour and tiny
like
just
Jonesy.
200 years ago. Yeah, they were Jonesy 200 years ago.
Wow.
And now they're big and expansive. I mean, apples just keep getting bigger. You see the size of apples nowadays?
It's
Yeah.
nuts.
Apples, cookies, no, nuts too. Nuts have stayed pretty much the same size. Tell me about the grapefruit. Are they
I
bigger?
can't get anything on.
What are you
on the side
talking
yet.
about?
I'm working- I'm
This
reading
is
the-
this is the inner tube. They have everything.
I'm reading as fast as I can. There are many varieties. Some people are cooking them. That reduces the sourness, the nutritional properties, that kind of stuff. Nothing yet on increase in size.
Just look at our fruit getting bigger. Just don't do grape, do fruit.
I told my wife that as a child, my dad ate honey on grapefruit,
That's good.
and she thought I was a lunatic.
Yeah, my mother used to put sugar on grapefruit. And
Yeah.
I remember
I think you need to put it with local honey so that you.
Thank you.
I put into a script for bullshit. I put into a script we were using a grapefruit spoon.
Oh,
And these young people nowadays, they don't know what a grapefruit spoon is.
I definitely remember just.
Jared, you know what a grapefruit spoon is? No, you don't know. You don't know anything.
No was the answer to that, Jera.
Do you know what a grapefruit spoon is?
Of course I know what a grapefruit.
Godot, grapefruit spoon?
I do know what a grapefruit spoon is.
Grapefruit spoon is a spoon that the end of it is serrated and sharp.
Yep. He's digging.
When I
into
serve a grapefruit now, though, I cut it in half and then cut along those lines on both sides of those lines. So
Oh,
that
you're a
you
good
spoon-
grapefruit
yeah,
server.
I know.
But what I discovered, what I like to do is peel the grapefruit like an orange. And
That's
just have it like that in sections. And for a long time, I would only eat citrus fruit in the hot tub because it stops you from getting sticky.
that's a drastic solution to a small problem.
But for me, or I would also sometimes eat it in the bathtub.
So you're a peeling grapefruit guy. So then Godot can only answer this question: do you eat it with a bowl and let the juice come into the bowl, or do you keep the juice in its actual
For grapefruit?
rind?
No,
Yeah.
I keep it in the rind.
Keep it in the
And
rind.
then you squeeze it in your mouth?
No, I
Squeeze it
pour
with a spoon?
sugar into it.
You
And
pour
then
sh-
a little bit on the juice at the end. Yeah, I will do that.
Yeah,
Make
I
a
thought-
sweet juice.
I used to think grapefruits needed. Grapefruits always gotten sweeter. They've gotten sweeter and bigger. You don't need the internet to tell you this. I'm telling you this.
Okay.
Grapefruits are
Great.
sweeter. And,
I am your internet now.
I just, I remember
Fruits that help make your boobs bigger. I'm telling you, this search is not exactly turning up.
grapefruit make your. Well, yeah, you stuff them in your Well,
No, this
easy,
didn't
yeah.
say grapefruit. That we've taken grapefruit out of the equation.
Oh, good.
This
I
is
just worried because if
our
I was
fruit getting bigger.
if I was trying to make my dick bigger and then I made my boobs bigger by accident, that'd be a bad move. for me.
you
Yeah.
gotta know the right fruit for the right job.
Scientists discover a way to make potentially any fruit bigger. Now that's 2015,
Well,
so
see,
they're all about to get bigger.
You know, I'm very excited about giant vegetables. You know,
Yes.
I've talked about that before.
Yeah, giant
You know,
vegetables, smaller animals.
Pumpkins that go 1,200 pounds. Oh, do I love that? And I've seen big squash,
Yeah.
wasn't that character on
Big squash.
on the Sopranos?
Yeah. Now, because slowly we're going to become a fairy tale. That's why. Because eventually we'll live in giant vegetables, and it'll be just like the illustrations in our children's.
They'll be able to just grow houses.
So did you bring this to me?
No. Ready Rich brought this. We have another fruit in our hands,
Okay.
and this.
So by
fruit,
coincidence, two people who work at this operation brought in fruit today.
Yeah.
And pretty much the same color.
Yeah.
Awfully similar.
and this this fruit is called a Korean melon.
Korean melon.
Chame.
Chame. I've been
You're my
following.
little chame.
I've been funneling chame as I talk.
Yeah, but it's small for a melon. It's Korean.
Yeah.
Small for a melon.
Ready? Have you eaten chame before?
Yes.
Often. He's also served it to me twice before. Once he served it to me before I was on my new diet, and I didn't care at all. Then he served it to me after I was on my new diet when I was watching James Bond, and I really, Mishmani Benny. Give me a Korean melon. He's quite bad, you know. Money penny. Mishmani
Good
penny.
Lord.
It was in celebration of Odd Job.
Oh, of course it was. Odd Job. In Goldfinger. Odd Job. His brother Rim and Blow. They have the Korean melon because Odd Job is Korean. In that. Is the actor Korean that plays him? I don't know.
So
Or is it, it's Scarlett Johansson plays him, right? It's a cultural appropriation. Scarlett Johansson was in big trouble for playing Odd Job.
how does one eat a Korean melon?
You have Ready prepare it for you.
Peel it.
No, he cuts it.
It seems like it lends itself to wedges.
It's wedges. Yeah, it's a wedge fruit. as
It's
we
a
call
wedgie fruit.
it in the fruit.
Wedge
business.
fruit is what I was called in college.
He's
Yeah, well-
Hawaiian.
He's Hawaiian.
Odd Job is Hawaiian.
Yeah. Well, Odd Job is Korean. The actor's Hawaiian.
Yeah.
And that's cultural appropriation, isn't it, right there? That's like Scarlett Johansson doing her, what'd she just do?
Ghost in the Shell.
Goes to the shell. And
Matt
she's,
Damon played it.
Appropriating robot personality.
no,
I don't-
she's appropriating Asian.
And
And
Matt Damon played some character in the Great Wall of China movie.
Mhm. But I don't even know if we should be eating Korean melon because we're not Korean. But we're gonna. So Somerset Maugham
Well, you've eaten grapefruit, right?
invented and that's from Somerset Maugham.
Yeah.
And you're not Jamaican.
All
That's right.
All right.
You know,
This is a South Korean national treasure.
what the melon?
No, wait.
You know,
So
this,
I've not been
I'm
talking with enough
confused
reverence
by-
of
I'm
it?
confused
see,
about this now.
when you change to our diet,
Yeah.
your taste buds get more sophisticated. And when I ate this, see if you agree with me on this Korean melon, I felt flavors of cucumber in this.
Yes, it's also structurally similar to a cucumber.
Probably in the cucumber family.
I got a thank you basket. First time in my life I've ever been sent a thank you basket.
Really?
Yes. From Shema Tosh, who's a warm-up comic for Fool Us.
Oh, I like she. She didn't send me anything.
I know. She didn't say
Nothing.
jack shit.
And it's my show.
I know.
Yeah, and I gave her important advice.
Well, that deserves. You deserve at least a couple of fruit baskets for that.
I do.
But yeah, I got a bunch of stuff, and all of it I can't eat right now, and shouldn't ever. But certainly not eating it right now. But beneath it,
Jordan almonds, were those in there?
no, there was a mixed nuts, but they're all heavily
No
salted.
one likes Jordan almonds. Those pink and
Rock hard.
yeah, they're
You
not
gotta suck
good.
on them for a long time.
No. I mean, I put them in my
At the
stoop.
farmer's market, this is a miracle.
yeah.
Or an atrocity. Sometimes you can't tell the difference.
Sure.
My son wanted olives. When my son wants olives, he gets them. And
Does he typically like olives?
Yes,
Or he didn't have a sudden farmer's market hankering for olives.
no, he likes. He's an olive liking little guy. Took me till I was like 18 to like
I was
olives.
gonna say, yeah, I didn't like olives till I was like late 20s.
Yeah.
olives
last year for me.
olives, blue cheese. They come later.
Yeah.
Olives, blue cheese, anal sex.
Still hate
Right.
blue cheese.
Um,
And 2 out of 3 though, I'm still okay.
okay, but you don't like blue cheese?
No.
Oh, I love blue cheese.
Yeah.
I love your good, soft, stinky cheeses. We're getting off subject. The subject is olives. So they're olives, and the olives are all stuffed with something. He didn't
Yeah.
want them stuffed with anything. They're stuffed with, coincidentally, blue cheese,
Yeah.
anchovies,
Okay.
jalapeno.
Okay.
I'm telling you their whole menu here, and almonds, right?
Okay.
And he said, "Oh, I don't want any of this stuff in my olives." And I said, "Well, it'd be good. You know, anchovies and blue cheese are good, but you won't know that for a few years." And he said, "I said, well, what about the almonds?" And he went, "I like almonds, but I don't know if I like them in my olives." And I said, "Well, we'll find out." And then the woman said, "This olive company has been in our family for 4 generations. We're this olive family. This is our brand at the farmer's market." She was lying. But then she said to me, which I thought was surprising, and it said it on the label, which doesn't mean she couldn't be lying, just premeditated.
Mm-hmm.
It said that the olives were hand stuffed. The olives were hand stuffed with almonds. Hand stuffed. Individually hand stuffed.
How else would you stuff an almond?
Oh, there's
Shotgun.
There's got to be a machine.
There's one squishing the seeds out.
There's no machine. It's hand stuffed. So I said to her, looking at her children who were playing around the little
The booth?
coolerator that was over there, I said, "Who stuffs them?"
Good
And she
question.
said, "We don't know."
Wait a minute.
She said, "There's a company that does it." I said, "I thought you said the family was it." She said, "We farmed that out." I said, "So you're saying that this is some sweatshop somewhere? People are pulling out pits and putting in almonds?" She said, "I suppose so." And Z said, "I think it would take a lot of time to pull out pits and put in almonds." And I said, "I wouldn't want to do it." And then I thought about it and said, "I might like to do it."
Yeah, that sounds actually the definition of that.
That's going to sound like something I'd like to do.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe, Penn, he works a lot, but what's his hobby? Well, his hobby is he buys a lot of olives, pulls out the pits, and puts in almonds. So if you're a real good friend of his, come Christmas time,
Yeah.
you have Penn's hand-stuffed olives with almonds.
Now-
Well, there wouldn't be a machine that would do that? I want to know why you aren't typing hand-stuffed almonds, olives, almonds.
I'm doing machine stuff to see if that
'Cause
exists.
Blue cheese almonds, I could see that you finding a machine for that. But
The machine would make this noise.
So there it is.
So who would want that machine?
Here's a video of a pitting and stuffing line, and I don't know. It's a 6 minutes, and it will probably be loud if I turn it on.
But
As are most people.
What
Now-
are pimentos, and how do they get inside olives?
now
Good
here's the thing.
I can buy the machine on Alibaba.
That's where our office is.
Yeah.
They seem to tout hand stuffed as though it were a plus.
Right.
That comes up often, and I don't
Why
think
on earth is that a plus?
That someone else's hands have been all over my food before I ate it rather than a clean machine?
That's kind of sexy, actually. You mean there's a Guatemalan woman who's handling my olives?
Handling your nuts and your
And by
olives.
and by Guatemala,
Yeah.
I mean Somerset Maugham. Okay, we done with the olive?
Well, here I have the machine. There's a handheld machine.
I bet that's what they mean
This
by
is mean by hand stuff, right
hand
there.
stuff. They have a little machine there. But I'm talking about a machine that goes.
This one might make that noise, but not quite as regularly as that, unless you were handling it.
Anyway, I had, even off my diet, I had
Okay.
one almond stuffed. I love olives, but they're nothing but salt.
Yeah.
So, all salt and fat, which is the original name for Penn and Teller. 506 people have lost 1,024,737 pounds that they say they've lost. because of
Self-reported.
Presto, self-reported. But Matt, you have gotten yourself back to a little bit porky.
I have.
Yeah. How much weight did you gain back?
40 pounds.
40. That's a lot.
I know.
That's half of it back.
Yes.
You're halfway back to where you were.
It's more than halfway back.
Yeah, and you're sick of this.
Yes.
So you're going back. Why do you think you gained the weight back?
Several things.
Weakness of will.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, yeah. Just snowballing bargaining, right? So you start making a few. You create wiggle room for yourself and your willpower, and then that just keeps snowballing on itself.
Mhm.
The
What is your nemesis? What food is your nemesis?
Carbs.
Bread.
Just bread.
Bread. Yeah.
Bread is my new nemesis.
Uh-huh.
Before, bacon was my new nemesis, so I feel more empowered.
Yes.
But I feel embarrassed that I've had to kind of like, I've kept trying to think I would do small things to adjust and it would just kind of bounce back. And
Yep.
that's just not the case ever, as it is never with anything.
Never with anything.
So I formally am starting a new 90-day challenge.
And what are you doing?
Eating less frequently and sticking to whole.
How long have you been
plants.
going now?
About a little less than a week.
Have you lost any weight?
6 pounds.
In a little less than a week?
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
No, because it works. Because
It
what we
just-
do
yeah,
works.
It turns out to
'cause-
be that way.
It turns out the thing that we already proved, I have to prove to myself again because I'm an asshole.
No.
A couple things. One, going on antidepressants.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly had a side effect of both of weight gain and just kind of like mental willpower type stuff. I said this before, but my first 90-day challenge, I was angry. Like I was very mad at myself and very mad about food.
Mm-hmm.
And so that fueled a lot of my determination and things like that.
Anger can be power, as the Clash sang.
Yeah.
When Somerset Maugham wrote.
Right. And I'm just having a hard time getting back into that place.
Mm-hmm.
2, I know it sounds strange, but my show moving from 7:30 to 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be very easy to, once I got out the door, just get back to
Right.
bed. Like just not going to bed earlier, not just that just changed my whole pattern
Mm-hmm.
of when my last meal was and when I was done eating and all that other stuff.
Mhm.
And having a second child, thriving, like I'm doing a lot more.
A little bit of baby weight you put on.
I put on baby weight. No, just
Do you know that parents,
Yeah.
you finish up the food that
Yes.
your children eat and you
Right.
put on weight?
that's exactly
Take that last 2 bites of pizza.
yeah. And that's the thing. It's like and you do that now with 2 kids, 2 different things, and then
4.
also
last 4 bites of pizza.
But fortunately, I'm helped by the fact that my son
yeah.
is so disgusting that no one could touch food that he touched. Sometimes it seems like he's eating through his nose. I mean, when you look at where he's just ate,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, I am not the cleanest eater. My son, whatever there was a tempering of my gene for clean eating that somehow I got, his is just. I mean, it's exploded. You can't understand. I mean, he's 10 years old.
Yeah.
And he still eats like a rodent.
Like a poodle dog.
So it's annoying, and then the straw to pull the trigger for the full 90-day thing is because I noticed fat guy things happening to me again that weren't happening. So anything that I was in denial about my weight gain, suddenly,
What fat guy things are happening?
people pointing out your plumber's butt all the time, annoying to tie your shoes, heart rate at the top of stairs, those things, little annoying things that I was so happy were gone. That were so worth not eating food.
Now let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Was there anything psychological, like not being able to see yourself as a thin, healthy guy?
For sure.
There was part of that?
Definitely. No, and I said it before, and actually I go to therapy, and yeah, we discussed this in actually several aspects of my life. They call it imposter syndrome, where you feel like you legitimately don't belong in the place that you're actually doing well at.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when people called me svelte or skinny when I lost the weight, I thought they were lying to me and that I just was so obese that this was such an improvement, but I still was a fat guy. Yeah, absolutely. And now I look at the pictures of me when I was actually skinny from the post-Ray days, and I was like, oh shit, that really is the case. I really was skinny.
I believe that we could make more money for the show and save you money by stopping your therapy and doing it here. Don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's certainly more fun for us.
Tell me more about feeling like an imposter. See? I can do this. I can do this. All I've got to learn to do to be a therapist is turn my watch around so I can see the time without turning my wrist.
I bet you could stuff olives while talking to Matt about this.
I could probably address envelopes in my spare time. There's a lot of money-making properties here. Yeah, but I mean that's it is weird.
Yeah.
You know, I get called tall now and never big,
Yeah.
and that's just a strange thing.
But you feel authentically like that though now, don't you?
Not quite yet,
Right.
but I know that. That's why I asked you.
Yeah.
You know, there's a feeling about. How about you, Guido?
I am cheery and oblivious to everything. I was never a fat guy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You don't experience any angst, do you?
None.
On anything.
No, nothing.
Ever. You don't even know what the word means.
I realize that I don't, and that's unusual.
Yeah.
I
was like I said, I was never a fat guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The image thing went the other way for me.
Yeah.
What do you mean I'm fat? Shut up. Jeez, what a dick.
And you were wicked fat.
I was fat. I can look at the pictures now and go, wow, I was a fat guy. But at the time, I didn't say I was a fat guy. I didn't feel like a fat guy.
Yeah.
I was still doing stuff. I was still snowboarding and kite, and all that stuff.
That was the case for me for a while until 300. At 300 pounds, that's when I realized, like, oh shoot, I'm the things that I make fun of in really fat people. Things that for years I've made fun of that now I'm doing, like making noises while breathing idly, things like that. Things that if I want to portray a fat guy in improv, I start doing that. It would make people go like, "Oh God, that's so weird. I hate that." Yeah, just. That's fat voice.
But are you committed now to coming back down?
Yeah, I mean, talking about it on air is one of them. Facing you guys and talking about it is probably the biggest hurdle.
No, we've just fucked it up now, right? We're not supposed to talk about it.
Yeah. Because now you got the dopamine hit from having done it without having done it.
No, I don't think so.
We've ruined you.
That was our plan.
I think it's going to be different
worked
this
perfectly.
time because I was going to try to do it and not talk about it, and there's then having ignored that I gained the weight, and I think this is maybe a different route.
Matt Donnelly,
being in chapters,
Matt Donnelly, you said to me, "We can talk about this on the show." You said that sentence to me.
Yeah.
And now you're saying you weren't going to talk about it? Oh, I see.
Yes, I was going to try to having everyone being polite and not talking about how much gait I've waned.
Gait you've waned.
Gait I've waned. See, this is now I have fat person brain. No, I was going to try to get back to my goal weight without anyone having brought it up to me personally.
Well, that's good.
But it didn't go that way.
Who brought it up first? Not me.
Ray.
Oh, good.
Ray Cronus.
Yeah. Well, that's his job.
It is, and he is very. I feel bad because he gets paid to do stuff like that. So for him to take me on again, with and he's basically just doing it.
He just wrote an email out of the blue, going, "What are you doing, Matt?"
Yep. Actually, he texted me last week on Sunday school saying, "What are we going to do about this?"
Well, that's good.
He watched me on the live broadcast and just said,
Oh, yeah.
"We got to do something about it."
Oh boy, that's scary to get that text from Ray.
It is.
Pray Ray's watching.
And it's tough to be in several chapters of Presto as a guy who's successfully done it, and then walking around as a fat guy again is embarrassing.
Yeah.
All of it.
Fortunately, not that many people read Presto.
It's a New York Times bestseller.
Right, but compared, there's 7 billion people on the planet.
Oh, sure.
You could stay fat and move to Mongolia.
Which I asked my wife about.
Huh?
Yeah. Are you sure we can't?
That was
rather I lose
actually,
weight.
that was actually, their tourist slogan. Stay fat, move to Mongolia.
Stroke victims welcome.
Rad Power Bikes is a consumer direct
Yay.
electric bike company producing 4 unique models of electric bikes. Because Rad Power Bikes is a consumer direct brand, buyers get a premium electric bike without paying the huge markups caused by dealers and third-party retailers. Priced at often less than half the price of comparable bikes on the market because dealer retail markups are cut out. Founded by 3 friends who couldn't find a performance electric bike that didn't have an absurd price tag. Started building bikes in 2007. Now, Godot came by my house. What day was it?
I did Tuesday or Wednesday last week.
Yeah, and he rode the electric bike.
I took it and
back
rode
to
it for
his-
20 miles.
20 miles, yeah. It was nice, wasn't it?
Oh, it's great.
How much assist did you use?
Varied wildly. There are some parts of the road where you want to go really fast. It's narrow. There's cars. There's traffic. And so I turn the assist up and race through there at 20 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Other spots, I just slow it down and ride at 10, 15 miles an hour, just like a normal bike ride. And it doesn't feel like the assist is doing that much.
I know.
It's the greatest thing in the world. You just go, wow, I'm just healthy.
I'm getting stronger.
It's the fat guy thing.
Currently offering free shipping on all electric bikes to the lower 48 states. I love calling it the lower 48.
The lower 48.
Shipping previously was $175. That's cheap. That's a big savings, is what I mean.
Yes.
$175, you save a lot. At 750 watts of power, going fast miles an hour, all 4 models have the most powerful motor an e-bike can have while maintaining a street-legal Bob Dylan album status. No license required. Ride it anywhere you can ride a bicycle. All 4 models can reach 20 miles per hour with 0 pedaling. Did you do that at all?
No.
Okay. All 4 models give riders the choice to ride pedal-free. You did that
Yes.
with throttle. Utilize 5 levels of pedal assist. You use all 5
I did. I'll use all 5 levels.
for an added boost or a combination of the two. Riders can go between 20 and 40 miles on a single charge. You went 20 miles?
I went at 20 miles, and it still had. It was still half a charge. I mean, it was so much more than I expected it would be.
Go to radpowerbikes.com and use the code
Ben!
to receive $75 off accessories when you purchase an electric bike. There's a good company. Speaking of good companies, it's our favorite. Stamps save you time and money. Stamps.com. You can grow your business, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to go to the post office ever. If you mail anything at the post office, you're wasting your life. There's no reason to be there. I can mail any letter, any package using just my computer and printer, and the mailman picks it up. And you had that happen, right?
Yes.
Not mailman. This is just a typo.
A mail carrier.
Mail carrier, who you had a
Yeah.
crush on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And she came and picked up all your stuff.
Yeah.
And she wasn't mad at you, was she?
No.
What'd you do?
She had kindness in her eyes and effort in her step.
And you called her in advance?
I called in advance. You just call the post office. You say, hey, when you come over to drop off the mail in my neighborhood like you normally do,
I got a little surprise for you.
I've got 100 ice cream social T-shirts that you need to take into your giant car.
Uh-huh.
And she said, great.
Great. That's what she said.
No
right?
problem.
She was, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Great.
We're the post office.
Create your Stamps.com account in minutes online with no equipment to lease, no long-term commitments. Click, print, mail, and you're done. Unlike the post office, Stamps.com never closes. Print postage for letters and packages at your convenience 24/7, 7 days a week. Convenient, easy, reliable, flexible. It's just great. Brings all the services of the U.S. Postal Service right to your fingertips. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, any package. They really want to hit that any a lot so that my accent comes out. Any, not any, not any. Any letter, any package, any class of mail using your own computer and printer. They send you a digital scale, automatically calculates exact postage. And they've changed the reading here so I don't get to say bonus office instead of bonus offer. Stamps.com will even help you decide the best class of mail based on your needs. No need to lease an expensive postage meter. I use Stamps.com. We use it for all the make pen bad stuff.
Yes.
Laura, the long-suffering Laura, sends her, if you send for an autographed picture of Penn and Teller or of Laura to pennandteller.com, you'll get it with Stamps.com. We just love it. Right now, you too can enjoy the stamp service with a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale without long-term commitments. And we know long-term commitments, not good. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in
Penn.
That's Stamps.com, enter
Penn.
Stamps.com, never go to the post office again. So, Ira Glass.
You got to meet Ira Glass. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Ira Glass is a good guy. But it's going to turn into a tragedy.
Oh, no. Is this the last moment I'm going to like Ira Glass? Are you about to shatter my Ira Glass love bubble?
This particular story, Ira Glass comes off great.
Uh-oh.
Ira Glass is doing a show.
All things considered?
No, he does his This American Life or something.
Yeah, it's American Life.
Ira Glass. It's the most popular podcast,
Sure.
I believe, in the universe.
Yes, although Reddy would have issues with that. But yes.
Yes, of course. It's that lying thing. It's like people who put out TV shows, put them in the theater once and call them documentaries.
Yes.
I know about that. The OJ thing.
Yeah.
Everybody says, great movie. Everybody says, is it a documentary? They put it in the theater? I don't know. That's what they say it. Because they're all doing a cartoon Jay Leno.
They're all parrots.
Yeah, all parents. Same thing. Is it a podcast when it's on the radio beforehand? What do you say, Ready Rich?
If it has a radio's budget, it is not a podcast.
Thank you, Ready Rich. And what do you feel about the OJ documentary as a documentary?
I have other issues with documentary.
What is that?
I don't see a difference between film and documentary. I think they're the same thing.
You think they're all lying?
Lying's the wrong word, but documentary starts with Leni Riefenstahl,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
which
what
is
that means.
propaganda.
Ah.
Leni Riefenstahl was Somerset Maugham's partner. No, making movies for the Third Reich.
Right, you put a camera in the room, you've changed reality.
Mm-hmm. But people know that when they're seeing it.
Right.
Yeah. So it's, yeah. But anyway, you have another issue with this. But we're going back to this. Ira Glass, most popular,
Currently has the most downloaded in the podcast format. He has the most downloaded.
but it's
This
a radio
American
show.
Life.
This American Life. He's doing one on Teller. Okay? And Teller creating a magic trick. And the magic trick he's doing it on is the red ball.
Mm-hmm.
And Teller told a delightful little story about how Penn at first was not thrilled with the red ball. But then, of course, with a few little tweaks from Teller came around.
Yeah.
Ira Glass said, well, he was spending hours and hours interviewing Teller. By the way, if you want to make Teller happy, interview him. Bring a tape recorder, interview him, let him talk for hours. He's thrilled. Ira Glass said, oh, can I talk to Penn about what he thinks about the red ball? And Teller said, there's no reason. This is kind of a story.
It's about me, yeah.
It's kind of a story about me.
You don't need to.
And then I believe this is actually true. I don't know the exact.
You both have the same policy for lack of ampersand.
What's that?
You always say, like, why does this person show up here to do this gig?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no ampersand.
No ampersand.
Yeah.
So he's in heaven. You know, Ira Glass came over his house. He's making him pancakes. He's thrilled.
Doing those Teller things.
He's doing his Teller things, and it's totally his world. And then Ira says, can I talk to Penn? But also, can I talk to Penn about the red ball? Okay. So Teller actually sends an email to Ira Glass that says, please don't break up our partnership. No spin, no comedy, no nothing. So Glenn says, you want to talk to Ira Glass? I said, sure. I thought he was doing a thing on Teller. He said he is. And he says he's doing a thing on the red ball. And so I write back to Glenn in my email, he wants to talk to me about the red ball? And Glenn says, yeah. And I go, do you think that's a good idea? And Glenn says, well, we think it's okay. And I said, what would you like me to say about the red ball? And Glenn says, no, you just talk to him about it. I said, no.
That's not true.
That's not true. What do you want me to say to Ira Glass about the red ball? And he said, I think it'll be fine. I said, okay. So Glenn sets it up. So I have to go on stage, right? I've got 25 minutes to talk to him. That's it. And he's there. Boy, he's got a nice microphone. He's big and long, and he uses it like he wants you to genuflect to it. It's a scepter. That's his microphone. And he's not happy to just put it into his iPhone. He has a black box, which I believe is just a case.
I can tell you, I'm already upset about this. This is one of my best insider stories of being behind the scenes of Penn and Teller is to talk about the red ball trick. When people go see the show and they're like, that red ball with Teller, it's always like, funny enough. And then that's the only story that people want to hear me talk about Penn and Teller that's worth hearing.
So Ira Glass says, we're going to do a little interview. And I say, because I quote Bob Dylan, don't ask me nothing about nothing. I just might tell you the truth. And Glenn is in the room.
Good. It's good manager.
Possible Glenn has a trank gun with him.
A little blow dart. So
when I first saw the bring in Bill Cosby. He's out. So Ira Glass, red ball. I go, yeah, I guess Teller told you. He said, yes. He said that you, when you first saw it, you didn't think it had an idea. And that's why the intro and the outro were added that then pleased you about the trick. I went, yeah. And then he said, what is your feeling about the red ball now? I said, I hate it. Well, then I explained. I said, here's my position, Ira, because I can call you Ira because that's your name. I said, here's my position.
Hold on a second. Is Ira or Teller going to be upset that you're talking about stuff that's going to be in This American Life right now?
Both of them. Both of them are.
Okay.
Both of them Both of them are. Here I go.
Can we point out that we were being dragged along just in case Ira or Teller are looking for
And even Glenn,
a
if
writer
you're
or
listening.
somebody?
Glenn,
Yeah,
we are hostages of the storytelling.
Okay. I said to Ira, and you tell me any of this that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
I said to Ira that the red ball was a fabulous magic trick that Teller does beautifully, that he is proud of, that the audience really, really likes. One of the best bits in our show, and is good for our show. And I just personally doesn't grab me. And I said, I don't care what else you do, Ira. You have to put all those things in because my position is the wrong one. And I said, my problem is one of the things I don't like in magic is animation. You know, production, vanish, transformation, impossible location, knowing information you can't know, time shifting, all those things I can find something interesting about in magic. This coffee cup is now alive and it's my friend. No interest at all.
You don't like fantasy.
I don't like fantasy at all.
Right.
No.
I don't like fantasy. I don't like science fiction. So this is not directly in. And then he said, Teller talks about a tense conversation you had in the dressing room and some of the things you said. And I said, well, I have blanked it. I said, I don't even remember being in the tiger cage in Nam. So I'm certainly not going to remember being in the dressing room with Teller because it was much worse than that. And he said, you said you had a conversation and that you said, this trick does not belong in our show. It belongs in Cirque du Soleil. I said, yeah, I might have said that. He said, and Teller said it was one of the
The mists are clearing.
most upsetting things ever said.
Because you guys do agree on what Cirque du Soleil is.
Yeah. And I said, he said, well, what do you feel about Cirque du Soleil? And I said, Cirque du Soleil is Canadians dressed as birds. And then I explained the difference between the collective and the individual, which is what I really, why Cirque du Soleil specifically has a mission statement that is the collective.
Mm-hmm.
They don't think individuals matter.
Right.
And I think in show business, nothing but the individual matters. You know, when I go to see an orchestra play, I am relating to the composer and the conductor. And the rest of them are just doing it. When I see a movie, I don't feel as it's a collective. I feel I'm relating to the director, sometimes the writer, and occasionally my weaker moments, the actor, if it's Brad Pitt. But I want to have an individual experience from art. And Cirque du Soleil is specifically and conscientiously trying to present a collective. Okay? There's an idea that is we're all doing this together. And the proof of that is with the Beatles, they remove their faces, give them identical haircuts, and say essentially the idea of the movie of the show Love here in Vegas is if you were alive during the Beatles and if you liked their music, you were part of creating it. Which, by the way, there's a validity to that. The Beatles' music is in part created by the community. I mean, this is the argument for trademark, all right, for copyright. Mickey Mouse is not a Walt Disney creation. Mickey Mouse is an American creation, maybe a world creation. We bring something to what Mickey Mouse means. Now, this is really hard, complicated stuff. And that's why I believe Cirque du Soleil's view of the Beatles may be more accurate than mine.
Right.
But I don't like it. Okay? Now, here's another thing to say about the red ball. Probably my daughter Moxie's favorite bit in the show.
Right.
I also believe, from what I knew about my dad and what he liked about magic, it would have been my dad's favorite bit. Okay? Two people that I love deeply, their favorite bit. People after the show who are smart, sophisticated, and know theater love that. But for me, there's no intellectual content in this inanimate object is moving like anthropomorphism always bugs me. You know, if it's funny, you know, if a guy's talking in a cat voice, you know, that's okay.
Right.
But the idea of of this is all of a sudden alive and dancing around doesn't interest me.
In any of your rehearsals, did you ever voice over the ball?
Wow.
Matt Donnelly solves it in
Would
one
that be
sentence.
so good? That would be so good. Tell her, you ever see the Mel Brooks commenting the experimental film?
No.
There's a short where I think, none of this is right,
Yeah.
but someone's searching it maybe. Mel Brooks, I think, bought an experimental short, okay, and put the experimental short up, and then he did voiceover. What's this? Is that a cockroach? Stuff like that. Talking over experimental film. That was the inspiration for the barrel trick in our show.
Right.
What's this on stage?
Yeah.
It's a barrel. We like good cooperage. That was the inspiration for that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love the idea.
You also did a bit with coming up the season of Fool-Us with Piff, where you lend your voice to an object, which had me on the floor laughing in rehearsal.
I was a goldfish, yes.
The Critic.
The Critic, yeah. What does it say about it?
1963 animated film by Ernest Pintoff and creator-narrator Mel Brooks that won an Academy Award. So I'm not sure this...
So they worked on it together.
Film was reportedly inspired by an actual incident. In 1962, Mel Brooks attended a screening of an animated short by Norman McLaren. It featured surrealistic abstract imagery. During the screening of the short, Brooks overheard another audience member mumbling to himself, an old immigrant grand who was voicing his disappointment at the lack of a plot. Brooks was inspired to create a film out of this experience.
So we had the film made especially for that.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful, wonderful film.
Yeah.
And I thought I was kind of special for liking it, and then the Academy Award comes up. It's like I came out of, Flick by Annie Baker going, boy, this is a great film I discovered, Pulitzer Prize. And before I saw it.
Right.
So you're not in there early, but I did like Bob Dylan before Nobel Prize.
There you go.
But I didn't like him before he was, the spokesman for my generation.
Right.
I came in late on all this stuff. But it won an Academy Award. So,
Won an
this
award,
is a weird thing, man, that only I like.
Yeah.
And
Sorry to bring that
every
up in the
Academy-
middle of your story, but you did say someone is looking this up.
I did.
Ira Glass.
Ira Glass. It was actually a really good interview. And I absolutely did all the way through tell the truth. I think if I saw that trick in another show, I would love it. I think that trick in the Copperfield show would be amazing. I think in a lot of magic shows it'd be great. It is a really, really good magic trick. And Teller does it really, really well. It just doesn't speak to any of the things that I think about. When you put the beginning on of me telling how it's done with a thread, and you put the ending on of me cutting the thread with scissors, that helps it a lot. But still during it, it's the animation. Teller treating an inanimate object as though it were a dog. And it just doesn't grab me. Now, Teller had an idea that we tried to do, and Johnny Thompson became apoplectic. And Johnny Thompson did everything he could to cock-block this idea, and successfully did. But Teller suggested it, and I thought it was amazing. When you're doing stuff with elaborate thread work, it has to be lit really carefully. And Teller got the idea of, in the middle of the bit, doing lighting changes that would show how it was done.
Wow.
Oh, neat.
And
That'd be beautiful.
I loved that idea. Loved it. And Johnny Thompson went to pieces.
Didn't Johnny Thompson also go to pieces when you said this next trick is done with a piece of thread?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And then, and many people don't believe me when I say it's done with a piece of thread. And there's real good reasons, because there's some stuff in it that can't be done with a piece of thread.
Yeah.
So there's that. And that's also kind of what I don't like. I want it to be transparent.
Yeah.
But there's also an element of cute is too unkind to Teller. But there's an element of whimsy. And whimsy is something that, for me, has to be done very, very carefully, or I don't really enjoy it. All that kind of open-faced, playful type stuff is not the kind of stuff I look for. So Ira Glass did it, and part of Glenn's plan didn't work.
Yeah.
Because Ira Glass is such a good interviewer that even when it got time for me to get ready for the show, I was running late.
Right. last episode we talked about Don Rickles, right? I think there's a perception or a knowledge that you have of Teller and working with Teller, and a perception of Teller as the performance character of Teller that we all observe at a Penn and Teller show.
Mm-hmm.
I feel, I'm not going to put it in a question, I feel like there's a disconnect between what Teller presents to us as the character of Teller that we really enjoy about Red Ball that maybe you don't share because of your perception of Teller.
Oh, that's really interesting. So maybe I'm seeing things in the Red Ball that no one else sees.
Yeah.
Wow. I'd never thought of that. I'd never thought that may be the whole solution. So the reason I keep saying in another show I'd like this is I'm really saying if I could be closed eyes coming into this, if I could just see it purely, wow. So it's really a defect of me being able to see how he's seen.
I think so. Because Teller is so wonderful, well-liked, and his silent character brings a certain affection from people that, that only the most, that always an almost sort of sarcastic departure happens with people who be like, what's he really like? What do you guys talk about backstage? Do you guys fight? That all comes from he can't possibly be this playful, innocent character that I see throughout the whole show.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not a monster.
right. He's just a human being.
He's not unpleasant.
Yeah.
But I see him much more complicated than an audience member could.
Yeah.
That's really smart. Yeah. That's smart. When you first saw Red Ball, how did you feel about it?
I thought it was really cute.
Mm-hmm.
I also, it was not my favorite trick, but I was a Penn and Teller fan before meeting you guys, and what I always liked about you guys was your comedy and your kind of I don't know, approach to stuff. And so I felt actually what you just described. I felt it was a really great magic trick, and I was like, oh, it's so not Teller like. But then also the shadows, right, is also something that's like Teller at some points has these individual moments that feel like it's for Teller, it's a duo of the show, and I
that's
felt
good. That's good.
Definitely. When you go see Penn and Teller, you feel like you get individual stuff.
Yeah.
So at the time, you were doing Nail Gun and stuff like that. So I felt like the first Penn and Teller show I saw, I felt like I saw Penn and Teller stuff. I felt like I saw Penn stuff, and I felt like I saw Teller stuff.
I think that's just right. And I don't know how many times I can say this, but not enough. I am aware. I hear the applause. I hear the laughs. I know that people love it.
Right.
And people say that to me, and my daughter loves it. I mean, I can't say it's stronger. There's nothing wrong with that bit. There's this. I'm talking about me specifically.
What
I'm talking about the bit.
you are not doing that we're doing is we write Teller's jokes for him when we watch Teller. Teller does a look, we interpret it. Teller does a move, we interpret it. We write what we think Teller thinks and behaves and feels. You know what Teller thinks, behaves, and feels.
Yeah. And I've watched him walk. But it was done, it's completely okay. What I said to Ira Glass was I said, we went from, and we should have, from Rubber Soul to the White Album.
Right.
Rubber Soul, the Beatles were a collective. The White Album, they were individuals. And I don't know all these details on this, but I believe Martha, My Dear, the piano and orchestra thing, I believe that no one is involved in that but Paul McCartney.
Right.
I believe there is not any one of the other three Beatles that has anything to do with that song, may not have even heard it. You know? And if you were talking to one of the other Beatles, and you asked about Martha, My Dear, they would say, it's a Paul thing, people like that.
Right.
But you can't see John Lennon going, oh, I sure wish I played on Martha, My Dear. It's a great song.
Yeah.
It is a great song. But it's certainly not a Beatles song, And you find out how the White Album was done. It was done by four people. I mean, Ringo was in France. He didn't even play drums, mostly Paul playing drums.
Yeah.
He just split. And I think that's totally okay.
Yeah.
When John Lennon does Julia about his mom, I don't think Paul and George cared.
Yeah.
And there's all. Then you go to the heavy one, Revolution #9, which was just John and Yoko playing with tape loops. There were no other Beatles involved at all. You do your weird experimental stuff, good, great. You get a track on it. I get Martha, My Dear. And the truth of the matter is, when I've done stuff in the show that is purely what I want, right? Purely what I want, without concern for Teller, people don't like it.
Right.
Me and my pure Penn form, the audience doesn't like. In the pure Teller form, the audience does like. What have we learned from this?
1.7.
1.7. But I'm very aware of all this. You know, I have tried to put stuff on stage that was so out and so personal. The audience wasn't involved at all.
Right.
You know? I was just out of my own little world, and Teller's always been supportive in that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and in my way, I was supportive of Red Ball. I never said that's not going in the show. When asked how you feel about this, I said so. You know, and when Teller does a lecture, which he does on the Red Ball, how it came about, he shows emails from me.
And they get good laughs.
Real big laughs, yeah. One of the emails is his
I've seen
quote. Yeah, you've seen it. Yeah.
I've seen it.
They get,
I've not.
They get big laughs. The emails from me are like, well, I guess I don't have to like everything in the show. Big laughs from the audience at Penn. You know, and I don't know. It's possible, and you'd have to tell me that the audience, when I come out and cut the thread and kick the ball, that part of what makes that a good moment is that the audience has some sense that this is not a Penn bit.
Yeah. Or it feels like it returns to the Penn and Teller show more than that.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's...
We're allowed to be inside of Teller's head. We don't have to. Teller is not imposing anything on anyone. He just is out
Not
there
on
doing
you.
his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. During the show, during the actual part of the show. But for you, you're coming out and stating ideas, and we can agree or disagree.
Mm-hmm.
And that does not happen with Teller.
Right.
How much is he involved when you do the fire reading monologue? Or was he involved ever?
I don't think... I don't really remember, but I believe I wrote the fire reading monologue myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what about like a nail gun?
Nail gun, I even did the trick myself on that with help from the crew.
Yeah.
And Teller came in with some of the staging and gave me some advice on order of stuff and rhythm on stuff. He helped.
Mm-hmm.
He helped. I want to be in the position of Paul McCartney on Terry Gross.
Yeah.
They said to him, did John help at all on Yesterday? And he said, no, not at all. I just had the tune Scrambled Eggs. He just came in and said, why don't you call it Yesterday? So it's possible I just told that same story with Nail Gun. He just taught a little bit about the rhythm and the order. Yeah. He might have done the whole thing.
That's right.
You know. Also, you know, and this is a little bit what Reddy touched upon with cameras in the room.
Yeah.
I do believe that if you're in a room when someone is riffing on something, you're part of the writing.
Mm-hmm.
If someone's looking at your face while they're running through a monologue, you're part of writing that monologue.
Right.
Because your reactions, your micro movements, your microaggressions, which were constant, and I noticed them from you, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. I had to talk to the Department of Behavior.
Yeah. I'll have a little talk with you about your microaggressions. I believe you are part of that. I mean, it's amazing how, when you're pitching something, how much it changes depending on who you're pitching it to.
Yes.
It's constant. And that means they're writing it. There's feedback there. I also try to do, you know, I've tried to do this experiment where I will tell someone about an idea and get really excited about it, really, really clear. And they're saying nothing. And then I'll say, I really like that feeling of creating that idea with that person. But they didn't say anything. I'll just do it alone. And I try to sit in my room and tell an idea to nobody and see if I can get the same excitement. Really hard.
Wow.
Really hard to do. Sometimes I'll do it, and this is not even a lie. Boy, this sounds like I'm doing a bit. I'll do it. I'll do it to my fish. I have a big fish tank. I will sit in front of the fish tank with my guitar, and I'll try out songs on the fish, just because it's a living thing across from me. Now that is so. As I say it aloud, that is so much crazier than telling making a ball come to life. Singing songs to fish is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have one fish that recognizes you, so at least you got that going.
I do. I think I have 2 fish that recognize me.
Oh, good.
But maybe we shouldn't go into this if I'm trying to present myself as not a crazy person. But the 4-eyed Amazon fish can recognize individual humans.
Yeah.
And I know they recognize me. And I know they like me. Not because I feed them, because I don't.
Right.
They just like me.
You earned it. You
They
earned
like
their
me for
affection.
who I am.
Yeah.
They like me maybe
You're not
because
a
I
prov-
sing songs to them.
You're not a provider. You're a friend.
But I do walk around and sing songs to the fish and the birds and stuff like that.
So, Ira, if you're listening, consider your sources.
But it was a good interview. And then I said to Ira, I did not know about Teller's email. I said, are you going to edit this in the way that's the independent Teller? Because I will, of course, never hear it. But I want to say this. If you were Teller
Mm-hmm.
and you'd listen to this whole hunk of Penn Sunday School right now
Mm-hmm.
about the red ball, nothing would bother you about that, right?
I don't think so.
Not even slightly.
I believe it's all honest.
We actually had a discussion in the first season you were on Apprentice, where the first time you ran into kind of like reality show character attacks
Mm-hmm.
and editing and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this.
By the way, Trump did during his Celebrity Apprentice. He did use chemical weapons.
You two both talk to each other with a you guys don't consider politeness or
Here's
couching things to be a good thing. You guys talk to each other with an assertive honesty that would make other people uncomfortable.
I think that the
And when he says other people, he means us.
He means we can are in the room.
I believe yes and as opposed to no but.
Yeah.
Yes and is the stupidest thing you can do if you're really trying to get something done.
Okay.
What Teller and I do
I have an argument for that, but go ahead.
is we come up with ideas. We're going to have a session on Tuesday, just the two of us, which is rare, brainstorming. And we will come up with, during that time, 30 ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Every one of those ideas is an idea that we can run down the street and use a huge amount of energy on.
Right.
Okay. There's people in the crew, people that work with us. There's us. There's a lot of human energy. What you want to do is find out a bad idea is bad as soon as possible. And so when Teller comes up with the red ball idea and I throw every obstacle possible in his way, if he knows he can get over them, it's going to be a good bit, right? But if I coddle him or try to do that kind of stuff, we could waste time. I mean, we worked on walking on a fire hose, walking on a stream of a fire hose, wire walking. We worked on that. So much money and so much time. And if one of us had been able to find this won't work because stop, we would have saved $100,000. And
Right.
we would have saved 8 months of work by 15 people.
Right.
You know, we couldn't do it, you know. And occasionally an idea, a good idea probably goes away because of that. But it's a small price to pay. I want to find out the next idea we're going to work on that we can really put our energy into as quickly as possible. And if you've got a reason that we shouldn't do that, it's not going to work, tell me. Because if you can tell me before the audience, that's a big plus. Do you have an argument to that, you said?
Yes.
That was it. Thank you.
No, I mean,
And
part of it is that, like, you guys, I think, already do innovative thinking already, right? And so what happens is that, like, a lot of the first expressions of no or improv comes from fear, or you're in toxic work environments where the argument is that's the way it's always been, and those are things that you and Taylor don't mire yourself into.
Yeah, that's not part of it at all.
Right. So you already have the freedom that comes with the forcing people to yes and is eliminating those two factors, fear
Yes.
and mired thinking.
My problem on Celebrity Apprentice
Yeah.
has orange hair. My problem on Celebrity Apprentice was that I believe this is the way to really say it.
Yeah.
I was giving everyone in the room the respect I give Teller, and they didn't deserve it.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's why I could never put it on that show.
Yeah.
But that was the problem.
No,
You
but
know?
I remember
when you say to Teller, that's a bad idea, his answer is, yes, it is a bad idea, or no, and here's why.
Right.
It takes a very strong, smart, powerful, knowledgeable person
Yeah.
to deal with that.
Yeah, absolutely, and the respect factor included. I remember that first writers meeting being in the room for the Discovery Channel show, meaning with Godot, the walkouts of the car, going like, oh my gosh, felt like it was crazy tense, and then Godot was like, no, that's the way they talk to each other, and that's the way they talk about it. And then work still got done. Do you know what I mean? And then, so when you just table that,
Yeah.
so you
it
decided-
wasn't a fight.
It-
It was a discussion, and when the discussion was over, we were done and going forward.
So like when
But
you
you
go
know-
into a long thing and Taylor just goes, no, I don't, or when you yell at Taylor like, no, that's stupid. We would never do it like that, and Taylor just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
So like that's a way where you've taken a respect and an agreement above
But how
those things.
how foolish is it
Yeah.
to have a relationship like that of 40 years, then be put in a room with a stranger and pretend it's the same relationship? That's what I did.
Yes.
So I was treating Clay Aiken as though he were Teller.
Yes.
It's an insane thing to do.
Right.
But I don't know any better.
Yeah.
You know, when you guys came in the room, it doesn't change the way Teller and I work. You know,
Correct.
You guys, you're working for us, so you guys learn
Yeah.
how to do that. If you saw two people that were working for you doing that, you'd have to intervene.
No, I mean when Teller first started talking to me very directly and frankly, it took logic to be like, this is the way he talks. Take a deep breath and keep offering solutions. Like don't say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, or don't apologize, don't do whatever.
We don't
just keep putting out the things. Like, okay, well, let me try this. And you ignore what you were interpreting as anger.
Yeah.
And just keep putting it out there. And what happens is he turns around and he goes like, oh yeah, that's it. and then what I realized is that you guys are artists, which means you are passionate.
We are very passionate.
Yes, and you guys really put your passions first.
And we
foremost.
go, in our what we call our Starbucks sessions.
Yeah.
We go an hour shooting down each other's ideas.
Oh, I mean, I remember one time sitting at a Starbucks meeting where you're trying to come up with the best way to disappear a $100 bill for a stand-up bit. And Teller did it 4 different ways, and I was at a bad angle, as they say. And Teller was fooling me left and right.
You're at a good angle.
No. I was to the side of him. He was doing it to you.
Okay.
And I was at the side of him, thinking like, oh, I'll be able to see how he's doing it because I'm at this bad angle. And he still was doing it in a way that I was like, how the fuck's he doing that? Just at a Starbucks on the fly. And you just go, but I'm seeing the way you do it every fucking time. And that made Teller think. He didn't argue with you back. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Or you just busted my balls. He was like, okay. And just started thinking. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? All of these would work for television. Everything you just did would work for TV.
Yeah, it's just, and that environment. And I just brought in, I brought in just the other day a perfect finished bit for the Penn and Teller show. I mean, it was really done.
Yeah.
I was just putting little details on it.
Yeah.
I started telling Teller about it. And Teller said when I finished the whole thing, so it's just a card for us, and the audience knows that. And he said also, what are the people in the balcony doing? Talking to each other? And he said, but the idea of what you want, which is that averages can be predicted and specifics can't, is a really nice magical idea.
Back
And
to
I
the
went,
drawing board.
that's what I care about.
Yeah.
That's what I care about in that bit. And we started talking about that. But my whole bit was shot down. And I had notes, pages of notes.
Yeah.
And all of it was just negated. And he's right.
Yeah.
And that took no time at all. That was shot down in, probably the explanation and the shoot down 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas if I had power, I would have brought a whole crew down that whole road until it got in front of the audience and they went, it's okay, I guess.
Pretty good. Yeah.
So there you go. Anything else? We're doing a little while. Anything else you want to talk
I went
about?
to Monster Palooza with my daughter.
What was
this
that
week.
like? That's so cruel. I mean, your daughter should be dealt with as though she were a normal person.
Tired of couching it.
I
These
took my
other people
monster
will
out.
prove it. And she did step up and become a monster. She got up The morning we were going
What
to
is,
Monster,
well, what is Monsterpalooza? We don't- we
Monsterpalooza
don't
is
know.
a convention in Los Angeles of people who love monster movies and people who make monster movies and people who make fan art.
Well, Adam Rifkin must be there.
I didn't see Rifkin, but yes, probably,
Yeah.
because those people are there.
And
you
like
know.
Fangoria and those kind of
Yeah, yeah. Elvira is there.
Oh, yeah.
And
Boy, I found out something amazing about Elvira, which I won't say. Go ahead.
you know, the guy who did the special effects for American Werewolf in London. You know what I mean?
really?
Those
Yeah.
types of people.
Yeah,
are
Rick
it's really-
Baker.
Rick Baker
Rick-
is there.
Rick
We saw Rick Baker, met Rick Baker. So it was really just fantastic.
And she does monster makeup, your daughter?
My daughter's interested in animation and makeup stuff. And so she got up yesterday morning in the hotel before all of us and got ready. And as we got up, she put a makeup bullet hole in the middle of my wife's forehead.
It's
Blood
so good
running
you say
down her
makeup.
head. Makeup, I wanted to, I thought I better include that. Put a bullet right in my wife's forehead and then cut Jacob's arm like he had been attacked by Wolverine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. What'd she do on herself? Anything?
She broke her own nose. Big gash across the top of her nose, blood running down her face. Really
She had a
fantastic.
great
fun.
time?
It was really fun. And then we went to the convention. We walked, first off, got in the hotel elevator and rode down, which is
Which-
an hour away from the convention, so no one had any idea
She
why.
did nothing to you.
No, my wife's cell phone died, and so I spent my hour that I could have been makeup trying to fix my wife's phone,
Okay.
but didn't get it done. So we had to ride down the elevator with people, with Jacob with the gashes on his arm and my daughter's nose broken, and my wife with a bullet hole in her head. And the people in the elevator were
Just kind of.
yeah, hi.
It's the Godot's.
Yeah, it's been a rough morning. The commute in LA has been hell. So we went to the convention and walked around for 4 or 5 hours and met all these people and bought
That's
makeup. And
fabulous.
yeah, really fantastic.
Once again, Godot's a good dad.
Yep.
That was
doubt about
fun.
it.
That was
You
really
were on
fun.
Ask Me Another.
I was on Ask Me Another. It's a great show, you know.
Yeah.
And what are the chances right now, off the top of your head, that I'm going to get her name right? Ophia Eisenberg.
Ophelia.
Not
Ophelia?
Ophelia. There's no L. Ophia.
It's Ophia? Ophira?
Ophira.
Okay.
And Jonathan Coulter.
Mm-hmm.
Colton, very close. And he a great guitar player. We were backstage talking. I loved him. And then I went out, and it's a live show, you know. So they're going to edit it down to 10 minutes, but I did like 30.
Oh, nice.
I had a blast. Just a blast. It's just a wonderful, wonderful show.
There's a game show element to your appearance.
Yeah, I had to answer questions in the. There was a multiple choice question about magic, history of magic.
All right.
But they said a woman magician was known to have done this. I said the bullet catch. She was the first to do it, Carnival. And I went, okay, there's our multiple choice. And they said Houdini, and I said Robert Houdin. And they said, right, that's where he got his name. And so I did really well on the,
Oh, good.
on the quiz. And then I forced a standing ovation for myself.
Oh, good.
Get on your feet, people! Get on your feet!
For all the times you're ripping on Cirque du Soleil, and there you are pulling one of their best tricks.
Yeah, it was a really, really fun time. And I haven't got to the mocap suit, but I'll get to that another time because that was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha-cha-cha.
And to our listening ears, all nature sang and round us rang the music of the spheres. That was Penn Sunday School.
Teller likes it. The audience likes it. My daughter likes it. My father would have liked it. It makes me money. That was Penn Sunday School. Makes him happy. He talks to Ira Glass about it. Why did I just say I love it?
That was Penn Sunday School. That's why.
It's a ball, but it's like a puppy.
What if it was like a blue ball instead
Much
of a red
better,
ball?
Yeah. I'll tell you from blue balls. Peace out, people. I love you.
The Corporation for Public Broadcasting takes so little money. It's just fractional of what we spend on our military Most of it just goes to technology. You're paying for the engineers. You're not really paying for content. And, over the course of your lifetime, you might spend, if you make an average income, maybe $100, $150 on the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. But if you take any of that money and you make a show, it's not a fucking podcast.